Chapter 49. That doesn't prove that she likes me, does it? Or maybe she just thinks that she owes me a Russian book. Gu Lingqing said in a self-deprecating tone. Thinking of the scene where Bai Ye returned him the money, his eyes were cold and desolate. She likes you, I promise. She often holds your Russian book in a daze. Oh yes, she rejected you because she and Su Jiran agreed to live apart for a month. After a month, she can get a divorce. She is afraid that something might happen, so she left you first, Lu Shuang said in a hurry. Gu Lingqing frowned and remained silent. Seeing that Gu Lingqing didn't speak, Lu Shuang couldn't figure out what he was thinking, so he continued, "Can you take the initiative? Xiao Bai is a very passive person. You'd better force yourself on her or something." Gu Lingqing, would it be useful for him to force himself on her? He was afraid that Bai Ye would hate him to death. Let me tell you, Bai Ye has never slept with her husband. Women also have needs. If you make her feel good, she will definitely be loyal to you. Hee hee. Lu Shuang said with a guilty conscience. If Bai Ye knew that she said that to Gu Lingqing, they might not be friends anymore. Really? Gu Lingqing obviously didn't believe it. Well, I have a blind date tomorrow. I will take Xiao Bai there. It's a masquerade ball. Xiao Bai has changed her hairstyle. I will take a picture and send the address to you. Will you come? Lu Shuang invited. Gu Lingqing didn't say anything. Lu Shuang wasn't sure whether he would come or not. I will send you the address. After that, she hung up and sent the address to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing still didn't reply. Lu Shuang could only go back to the barber shop. She hired the director of the shampoo to cut Bai Ye's hair. Bai Ye's face was small, and her skin was fair. However, she didn't take care of her hair. She didn't do any hair care, let alone dye or perm her hair. The director cut her hair into a bob, softened it, and dyed it chestnut. Her face was even smaller, and her skin was better. She had big eyes, a full face, and half of her forehead was exposed. Every part of her was perfect, not delicate, but charming. Bai Ye was already pretty to begin with, but now she was stunning. Su Jiran really has no taste. He doesn't want such a beauty and is fooling around outside. Lu Shuang took a photo of Bai Ye and sent it to Gu Lingqing. Can we not talk about him? Bai Ye stood up. Fine, let's get rid of this scumbag. We have a better choice. Lu Shuang smiled slyly. She wondered if Chief Gu would go there tomorrow. Sigh. Early the next morning Lu Shuang was putting on makeup for Bai Ye excitedly. Bai Ye didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Girl, I'm the one going on the blind date with you, not the other way around. You should put on makeup for yourself, not me. Of course. Lu Shuang was putting on lipstick for Bai Ye. Of course I'll put on makeup for myself, but you're my female companion. If you're not pretty, it'll make me look lowly. Be a good girl and go to my place to pick out some clothes later. All right. Bai Ye didn't want to be a burden to Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang chose a white bat muslin for her, with a black bra inside. Through the white muslin, one could vaguely see Bai Ye's breasts and slender waist that couldn't be covered. In the past, Bai Ye's clothes were too conservative, and they covered her excellent figure. She really hoped that Chief Gu could be charmed by Bai Ye, and then, hee hee hee. The more Lu Shuang thought about it, the more excited he became. She was really looking forward to today's blind date party. Bai Ye saw that Lu Shuang had prepared 3 sets of clothes for her, and he had also brought 3 sets for himself, along with a swimsuit. She asked in surprise, "Why did you bring so many clothes? That place is a bit far away. It's by the sea, and we've agreed to go there for 2 days. We'll be staying there tonight, so I can always bring more clothes and put them in the trunk." Lu Shuang explained. Do you have to date for 2 days? Lu Shuang shrugged. My dad's request is probably for me to get the girl on the first try. He's getting old, so he's always anxious. I'll cooperate with him. Oh right, I forgot to tell you that the woman who recorded me last time has gone missing. She probably doesn't dare to offend Su Jiran. Forget it, I'm separated from Su Jiran now anyway, and we'll get divorced in a month. Then you should go for a blind date too, just in case. Lu Shuang instigated. That's not good. Let's go. Baiye helped Lu Shuang carry the luggage. The place for the blind date was really far away. It took Lu Shuang 3 hours to arrive. However, the place was very beautiful. A private villa faced the sea. There was a beach outside the villa. There were rows of umbrellas, deck chairs, beautiful women wearing masks and bikinis, and unique straw huts on the beach. There were many luxury cars parked in the parking lot of the villa. Baiye got out of the car, and the sea breeze blew on her face and her hair fluttered. The air was fresh and refreshing, making people feel refreshed. Lu Shuang glanced at the beach. Because everyone was wearing masks, she really couldn't recognize which one was Gu Lingqing. She wondered if Gu Lingqing was here. She pulled Baiye to walk to the beach. 2 bodyguards stopped them and said expressionlessly, Young Master Shen said that people who come here have to sign in first and arrange rooms. Oh, got it. Got it. Lu Shuang followed the bodyguards to the villa to sign in first. Before entering the villa, they went into a small room, where there were 6 tall bodyguards. Lu Shuang signed his name. The bodyguards checked the name list and made sure that Lu Shuang was there. Then they gave him the room card and the chest card and let him in. Lu Shuang was a little worried. If it was a real name system, could Gu Lingqing come in? Let's go to the room and have a look. Lu Shuang sighed and said. The bodyguards opened the door. The curtains inside were drawn, and it was a little dark. The living room was carefully decorated, like a bar. There was a bar, neon lights, rotating lights, flashing lights, a high platform, a stereo, wine, music, women, handsome men, and so on. Baiye and Lu Shuang put down their luggage and came to the living room. They chose a corner. Baiye looked at the high platform. A woman wearing a mask was singing, and there was a number on her body. It was number 05. Her voice was sweet, and there were a lot of people listening to her. Why are there so many people on this blind date? Are you sure you're not in the wrong place? I feel like it's a talent show. Baiye was suspicious. Lu Shuang shrugged. Who knows? Dad asked me to come. I guess all the unmarried people in the circle are here. Let's have a look and broaden our horizons. Anyway, we won't lose anything. Okay. Baiye answered casually. The bodyguards pushed the door open. A man wearing a wolf mask came in. He was wearing an Italian hand-cut black suit, which outlined his tall and straight figure. He had broad shoulders and a narrow waist, which made him look very imposing. Chapter 50. After number 5 finished singing, a new girl went up to sing. Do you want to sing? Baiye asked Lu Shuang. Let's see what's going on first, Lu Shuang said rationally. He listened to the song while eating sunflower seeds. Her figure is not good enough. She hasn't fully developed yet. Who is she? Number 10, who was sitting in front of Lu Shuang, asked the man next to him. I'm not sure. They can bring anyone they want. I don't know some of them. I've never seen them before, Sheniyan said lazily. She turned around and looked at Lu Shuang, curling her lips. Lu Shuang glanced at Sheniyan. What are you laughing at? Why do I feel that this person's voice is so familiar? Why isn't there anyone with a good figure? How can someone like this come? It's an insult to my eyes, number 10 said in disdain. Lu Shuang felt that it was meaningless. Xiao Bai, let's go to the beach. Lu Shuang pulled Bai Ye away. She walked too fast and didn't notice the chef coming over with the dishes. She almost bumped into Bai Ye. The man in the wolf mask was quick enough to pull Bai Ye's arm. Lu Shuang didn't know what was going on. He turned around and saw Bai Ye bumping into the arms of the man in the wolf mask. Watch where you are going. Why are you so reckless? The man in the wolf mask said in a low voice. His tone was strong, domineering, sharp, and cold. It sounded like Gu Lingqing. Bai Ye's back stiffened. She looked at him in surprise. Her heart was beating very fast. She was probably crazy. Her heart palpitated when she heard the voice that sounded like Gu Lingqing's. Why would Gu Lingqing attend this kind of blind date? Xiao Bai, are you okay? Lu Shuang pulled Bai Ye over. Bai Ye shook her head. I'm fine. Lu Shuang glanced at the man in the wolf mask. My friend is Gu Lingqing's woman. Don't even think about her. Bai Ye's face turned red. Fortunately, it was hidden behind the mask. When did she become Gu Lingqing's woman? Because it was too embarrassing, she quickly walked out of the villa. The beach was filled with cheers. A new limited edition Maserati was parked in the middle of the roses. The roses were arranged in the shape of a heart. 2 red ribbons were tied to the rearview mirror, fluttering in the sea breeze. It was very romantic. Lu Shuang dragged Bai Ye over to watch the fun. Su Jiran got out of the car with a devilish smile on his face. He held a heart-shaped balloon in his hand and a Maserati's car key dangling below it as he walked towards Xing Jinyan and the crowd. Wow, this man is so handsome. The crowd was in an uproar. The girls looked at Xing Jinyan enviously. I went to America to buy a car for you. You're so naughty. I heard that you came for a blind date as soon as I came back. Are you trying to piss me off? Su Jiran said, but his tone was doting. Xing Jinyan took the balloon from Su Jiran shyly. It was a custom-made Maserati. It had to be worth at least 3 million. I'm here to accompany my friend, Xing Jinyan explained. Su Jiran lifted her chin. He didn't care about the crowd. He lowered his head and kissed Xing Jinyan's lips. Cheers rang out from the surroundings. Lu Shuang was so angry that he gritted his teeth. What does Su Jiran mean? He's someone else's husband, but he's trying to please another woman. This beast is too playful. He's willing to spend a few million. How come I've never seen him be so generous to you? Bai Ye smiled. She was calmer than he had imagined. Seeing how sweet they were, she should be able to get a divorce soon. Lu Shuang walked to the side and called Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing answered the call. Chief, are you here? Bai Ye is being bullied, Lu Shuang said pitifully. I saw it. Don't worry, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. He saw it. Could it be that he was here? Lu Shuang looked around excitedly. She saw that the man in the wolf mask was also on the phone. She ran towards him and stood in front of him. Chief Gu, Lu Shuang said carefully. Yes, Gu Lingqing answered in a deep voice. Great, you're really here. I'll bring Bai Ye back to our room. We live in room 3022. You can have a good chat with her. Bai Ye likes you. Hee, I'm leaving now, Lu Shuang said happily. She ran away and pulled Bai Ye back to their room. What's wrong, Shuangniu? Bai Ye didn't understand why she was so excited. What are you doing here? You're insulting our eyes. Let's go back to our room. I have a gift for you. Lu Shuang pulled Bai Ye back to their room. What is it? Baiya was getting more and more curious. Take a shower first. You'll know after the shower. Lu Shuang pushed Baiya into the bathroom and turned on the tap for Baiya. What gift must I take a shower? Baiya didn't understand. You're so long-winded. Do you think I'll harm you? Lu Shuang patted his chest. Baiya took off her clothes. Lu Shuang carried her clothes and left. Why did you take my clothes? I'll bring them in later. Lu Shuang didn't even turn his head. Baiya felt it was strange. After she took a shower, she didn't see Lu Shuang bring her clothes in. Shuang Niu, Baiya shouted. No one answered her. Baiya was confused. She walked out of the bathroom with a towel around her. She saw the man in the wolf mask sitting on the sofa. She was shocked. Who are you? Why are you in my room? Before Gu Lingqing could say anything, Lu Shuang opened the door and popped his head out. He said with a smile, he's the man I found. He's my gift to you. Little Bai, Su Jiran has found another woman. You should find a man too. Otherwise, you'll lose out. Baiya, you little girl, what are you talking about? Baiya chased after Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang closed the door and went in with a mop. Baiya tried to open the door, but it didn't open. She felt as if she was killed by her friend. Shuang Niu, open the door. Open the door. Baiya knocked on the door. Lu Shuang ignored her. Baiya was speechless. She turned around and looked at the man in the wolf mask. The man in the wolf mask was calm. He looked at her deeply and didn't do anything else. My friend is just playing a prank. You don't have to worry about it. Baiya said apologetically. Gu Lingqing stood up and walked towards her. Baiya stepped back subconsciously. Her back touched the cold door. Gu Lingqing reached out and placed his hand on the side of her head. I don't believe that you can't guess who I am. Baiya's heart skipped a beat. Her hands were trembling violently. She moved closer to Gu Lingqing's mask and lifted it. It really was. Gu Lingqing. Why are you here? Baiya asked in surprise. What do you think? Gu Lingqing asked in return. He looked at her with a burning gaze. Her face was clearly reflected in his deep eyes. Baiya thought about it and felt that Lu Shuang's behavior was abnormal. Did Shuang Niu ask you to come? Gu Lingqing lifted her chin. His breath fell on her face. Baiya's heart was beating so fast that it seemed like it was going to jump out of her throat. Chapter 51. He slowly moved closer to her lips. Baiya was flustered. She pushed his hand away and walked out from his arms. She felt very uncomfortable. She covered the towel tied around her chest. Her mind seemed to be in a knot, and she didn't know what to say. Gu Lingqing didn't say anything either. He looked at her uneasy back view. I want to change my clothes, you. Baiya turned around. He was already standing behind her. She was shocked. She took a step back and sat on the bed. Gu Lingqing moved closer to her. Baiya pushed against his chest with both hands. Her palms could feel the frequency of his heartbeat, and her fingertips were trembling. What? It's not like I haven't seen it before. Do you want me to help you put it on? He asked. His tone was ambiguous, and his gaze was sharp. The pressure was too strong. I didn't mean that, Baiya said anxiously. Her face was red. You didn't mean that? Gu Lingqing asked. It's my friend's prank. Even if my husband is looking for women outside, I don't want to find a man to take revenge on him. Before Baiya could finish, Gu Lingqing kissed her. The kiss was very strong and domineering. Baya moved back. He pressed her down on the bed and pressed her shoulders. Baya couldn't move. She could only purse her lips. Gu Lingqing frowned. He didn't like her resistance. His large palm moved up her legs. Baya realized what he was going to do. She pushed his hand away. He held her hand with one hand and pressed it down on top of her head. Don't. Like this. Before Baya could say the last two words, he had already entered her mouth and wrapped his tongue around hers. She wanted to push him out. She stared at the tip of his tongue. He sucked her into his mouth. Baya wanted to pull out. She focused on the top and didn't have time to be distracted. Until a stronger electric current came from her spinal cord and rushed to her brain, occupying her thoughts. He actually, Baya found it hard to speak. Aside from that strange man 3 years ago, he was the first person who had touched her. The feeling was unfamiliar, but it had an indescribable surge of emotions. After all, she was already 24 years old, not 14. She was very sensitive. She tried to push his hand away, but she could not move. She wanted to ask him to hold on, but he blocked her lips. Baya wanted to hide, but he couldn't. Instead, he became more and more aroused. Is this our room? Who's playing a prank, sticking a mop on the door? Xing Jinyan's sweet voice drifted in. Baya widened his eyes. How could it be Xing Jinyan's voice? This room belonged to her and Lu Shuang. When did it become Xing Jinyan's? If they saw her and Gu Lingqing like this, she didn't even dare to think about it. Baya struggled and heard the sound of the mop being pulled out. Beep, beep, beep. The door opened. Su Jiran pushed the door open and came in. Baya hid under the bed, not daring to move or breathe. Xing Jinyan kissed Su Jiran eagerly. The two of them threw themselves on the bed. Baya felt the bed shake. Xing Jinyan and Su Jiran's clothes were thrown on the floor, including their underwear. Xing Jinyan was good at moaning. That voice, Baya's face was red. What was going on? She hid under the bed, watching her husband and her sister, Dai Luan. If she was alone, she would have treated it as a free performance. The problem was, Gu Lingqing was still there. She felt extremely embarrassed. Jiran, when are you divorcing my sister? Xing Jinyan asked, panting. Su Jiran slapped Xing Jinyan's butt and changed the topic. He said in a hoarse voice, Fox, change positions. If you and my sister didn't divorce, what are we doing now? Xing Jinyan said coquettishly. Tell me, what are we doing now? Are you unhappy? Baya felt the bed shake even more and bit her fingers awkwardly. Unjustifiable, Xing Jinyan was a little unwilling. Baya is my wife and we haven't slept together yet. The more you are not my wife, the more impulsive you are, don't you think? Su Jiran said evilly. Baya felt embarrassed and didn't dare to look at Gu Lingqing. He clamped down on her chin so that she was facing him. Baya met his eyes, which were full of lust, and her heart skipped a beat. Gu Lingqing lowered his head and kissed her on the lips. He had heard from Lu Shuang that she and Su Jiran hadn't slept together. However, after hearing Su Jiran's confirmation, he was even more moved. Baya felt his breath enter her organs. She was trembling, but she couldn't make a sound or push him away. Su Jiran and Xing Jinyan's voices became louder and louder. It was so hot under the bed that she couldn't think. Gu Lingqing lifted her right leg and placed it on his waist. His large palm slid up her thighs. Baya felt a white light flash past her eyes. An unprecedented feeling flowed through his senses, surging violently. Luckily, he covered her lips. Otherwise, she would have screamed. Although she had never experienced it, she knew what it was like. Baiya was so embarrassed that she wanted to find a hole to hide in. She didn't expect that she would be like this with Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing seemed to have noticed her reaction. He didn't go any further. He just held her waist, pulled her into his arms, and kissed her earlobe. Baiya was soft. She hadn't recovered yet, so she let Gu Lingqing kiss her. "Hey, where's the mop?" Lu Shuang's voice came in. Baiya was shocked and pushed Gu Lingqing away. "Push me away if you're comfortable," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. "Lu Shuang is here," Baiya explained. After saying that, she wanted to bite her tongue off. The other meaning of her words was that if Lu Shuang hadn't come, she would have made him comfortable. She was definitely crazy. She was crazy. Baiya buried her face in his arms and pretended to be dead. Beep, beep, beep. Lu Shuang opened the door and looked at Su Jiran and Xing Jinyan on the bed in shock. She went out and looked at the room number again. There was no mistake. How did Baiya and Gu Lingqing become Su Jiran and Xing Jinyan? She must have opened her eyes in the wrong way. "Get out." Su Jiran hadn't gotten over it yet. He was very annoyed and threw a pillow at Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang was hot-tempered. He opened the pillow and said, "You should be the ones going out. This is my room." Xing Jinyan hugged the quilt and said, "Who said it's yours?" "It's obviously ours, okay? Hurry up and get out." Lu Shuang was furious when he saw Xing Jinyan. "You shameless B*tch, how can you ask me to get out? The man you're using is not yours yet. Who are you calling shameless?" Xing Jinyan said angrily, "Jiran and Baiya are getting a divorce. I'm Jiran's future wife." Chapter 52. Su Jiran strode over, grabbed Lu Shuang's phone, and glared at Lu Shuang with a livid face. "Xiaonian, get dressed, let's leave." "Why?" Xing Jinyan was unwilling to give up. "Just do it," Su Jiran said in a low voice, and a malicious look flashed across his eyes as he looked at Lu Shuang, and the corners of his mouth curled up. Lu Shuang felt a chill invading her. She patted her head. She was so stupid. She should have taken the photos secretly. But where did Xiao Bai and the chief go? Su Jiran picked up the clothes on the ground. Baiya was trembling in fear, afraid that Su Jiran would see her when he picked up the clothes on the ground. Luckily, he didn't see her and walked out of the door. "Give me back my phone," Lu Shuang said angrily. Su Jiran was sure that she didn't take any photos, so he threw the phone to Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang called Baiya. Baiya's phone rang. Lu Shuang saw that Baiya's phone was on the coffee table, but there was no one in the room. She hung up the phone, closed the door, and walked out. She remembered that she could call Gu Lingqing. Lu Shuang called Gu Lingqing's phone. Gu Lingqing's phone rang. If Lu Shuang came in at this time, Baiya had the urge to dig a hole in the ground. She got up from the ground and ran into the washroom. Gu Lingqing answered the phone. "Chief, have you seen Xiao Bai?" Lu Shuang asked with concern. "Yes," Gu Lingqing answered. "Where is she?" "I don't see her in the room." Lu Shuang was confused. "She's with me." "We'll leave first," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. "Leave?" Okay. Hurry up and do it with her." Su Jiran, that B*tch, has already painted Xiao Bai green, Lu Shuang instigated. N. Gu Lingqing responded in a deep voice. That voice was like a bell, deep, hoarse, and full of masculine charm. Lu Shuang's heart was beating fast. "Then I won't bother you anymore. Good luck, good luck." She hung up the phone excitedly. "Lu Shuang, long time no see. A man wearing a fox mask stood in front of her. Lu Shuang frowned. He could tell that the voice belonged to the person who had been sitting next to number 10. Who are you? Lu Shuang asked suspiciously. Shen Yen took off his mask. A roguish smile appeared on his beautiful face. 3 parts good, 3 parts evil, 3 parts bad, and 1 part unfathomable. Lu Shuang recognized him. Shen Yin. Her nightmare when she was young. The son of the current president, the crown prince. His father had been promoted and moved out of their neighborhood. She thought that she would never see him again. She was happy for a few days because of that. It was not a good thing to see him again. Sorry, you got the wrong person. Lu Shuang walked past him. Shen Yin smiled. Don't worry, as long as I didn't get the wrong person. Lu Shuang pretended not to hear it. He had a bad feeling and ran away immediately. Baiya ran into the washroom. She remembered that her clothes were still outside. She secretly opened the door a little and saw a tall figure. The door was opened by Gu Lingqing. Baiya was speechless. He stood straight in front of her. Baiya lowered her head and did not dare to look at him. Aren't you childish? Gu Lingqing asked. My clothes are still outside. Baiya said softly. She thought about what they did under the bed just now and felt very weak. Come out and get it. Gu Lingqing said in a commanding tone. Baiya took out her luggage and took her clothes out. She rushed into the bathroom with them. Gu Lingqing picked up the underwear she dropped on the floor and knocked on the door. Baiya was looking for the underwear. She remembered that she took it. She opened the door. Gu Lingqing passed the underwear to her. Her face was hot as if it was going to burn. She took his NEI pants and locked the door. She looked at herself in the mirror. Her face was very red. Baiya splashed water on her face and took a deep breath. What was she and Gu Lingqing now? More than friends but not lovers. She calmed her racing heart, got dressed and went out. Gu Lingqing put away the cigarette, got up and went into the bathroom. He turned on the tap and washed his hands. She inadvertently glanced at his hand. His hands were very beautiful. The bureau chief's hands were wide, slender, and looked very strong. She remembered that he didn't go in. Why did she? What are you thinking about? Let's go, Gu Lingqing said. Baiya came back to her senses. Where are we going? Su Jiran and Xing Jinyan are here. Do you think it's suitable for you to stay? Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. It seemed so. I'll ask Shuang Niu to go with me. Baiya walked towards the door. Doesn't she want to go on a blind date? Gu Lingqing held her arm. Then, I'll say hi to her. Gu Lingqing picked up her mask from the coffee table and put it on her. I've told her. Do me a favor. Ha! Gu Lingqing's thoughts changed too quickly. She didn't react in time. There was an accident during Blue Wolf's maneuver. Number 108's legs were blown off. I'm going to visit him today. His wife has just gotten pregnant. I need an obstetrician and gynecologist. Please help me, Gu Lingqing said as he put on his mask. He said it as if it was the truth. She owed him a lot. If he needed help, she wouldn't reject him. Baiya followed behind Gu Lingqing and got into his car. He drove away. She took off her mask and looked out of the window. The sea was still as calm as ever. Facing the sea, it was as if she was tiny, let alone her troubles. Fortunately, she would end things with Su Jiran soon. Did it feel good just now? Gu Lingqing asked, her face strangely red. Baiya, she tugged on her seatbelt. It was obviously against her will to say that it was uncomfortable. They had already done it, How could it be uncomfortable? She said that it was comfortable, but it seemed to be an invitation. Well, will you be criticized for the accident? Baiye changed the topic. I'll keep this matter under wraps for now. I'll catch the mastermind within a week, Gu Lingqing replied. Okay, Baiye replied and breathed a sigh of relief. Gu Lingqing looked at her, held her hand, and held it in his palm. You're my woman now. You know what to do when you see Su Jiran in the future, right? When did she become his woman? Baiye pulled her hand out, lowered her head, and said softly, I haven't divorced him yet. Your relationship with Su Jiran only exists in name. I'll help you get a divorce after I deal with the mastermind. 1 month is too long, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Baiye didn't want to start a new relationship. She wanted some time to adjust herself. I just want to work well for now, Baiye said her thoughts. Chapter 53. Baiye was also a little annoyed. He was too overbearing and didn't even ask for her permission. When did I belong to you? We didn't do that. She was embarrassed to say it out loud and her voice became softer. His soft and gentle voice sounded like he was dissatisfied with his desire in some people's ears. Gu Lingqing pulled over and stopped the car. You want that, right? He frowned and asked helplessly. He carried her up from the seat and sat her on his lap. Baiye was completely stunned. He held her hand and pressed it under his body. Baiye was so scared that she wanted to pull her hand out. He held her hand even tighter. You're a little anxious. We're on the road now. Can't we wait until we reach our destination? Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. No, I didn't mean that. I mean, I don't want that. I don't want it. No, I don't want it. Baiye was speechless. No, I didn't mean it that way. I mean, I don't want it. I don't want it. Gu Lingqing saw that she was so nervous that she was incoherent. He found it quite cute and smiled. It was rare for Baiye to see him smile. She was stunned. He pressed the back of her head and brought it in front of his face. He kissed her lips. Her lips were very soft, like cotton candy. Baiye was so scared that she twisted her waist and wanted to leave. Gu Lingqing pressed her back and pressed it in front of him. Baiye twisted and touched him. She moaned and didn't dare to move. He let go of her lips and kissed her deeply along the beautiful line of her neck. She didn't know if the temperature was contagious. Baiye also felt hot. Her mind recalled the feeling under the bed and she couldn't think. Gu Lingqing's breathing became heavier. He unbuttoned her clothes with his fingers, revealing the purple edges. He wanted to eat her up. He wanted to eat her up right now. His kisses were densely packed. Baiye was in a daze and she gave up on herself. Why don't we do it? It's not a loss anyway. But she wasn't divorced yet. What was the difference between him and Su Jiran? Gu Lingqing, can you wait until after my divorce? Baiye said anxiously. Gu Lingqing paused. A pair of dark and wise eyes locked onto her. There seemed to be a monster hibernating in his eyes, flickering. Baiye didn't dare to look at him. He lowered his head and his eyes flickered. He had no choice but to compromise. He kissed her deeply and breathed in her scent. It was as if time had stopped at this moment. A minute passed before he let go of her. Be good and sit properly. Don't tease me anymore, okay? Baiye, she didn't pick on him. But no matter what he said now, it would only make things worse. She looked out of the window and stopped talking. Gu Lingqing drove for 4 hours and arrived at the countryside of another city. Baiye hadn't had lunch yet, and his stomach was growling with hunger. He glanced at her and stopped in front of a farmer's restaurant. Eat something first. Gu Lingqing opened the door to the front passenger seat. Bai got out of the car. Before she could get off the bed, he carried her down. Be quick. Bai, she watched him walk into the restaurant. She didn't dare to drag him down and ran to catch up. Gu Lingqing sat down by the window. Bai sat opposite him. What do you want to eat? Order it yourself. Gu Lingqing passed the menu to her. She remembered that he didn't eat lobster. The waiter came up. Pickled fish with pickled vegetables, eggs with tomatoes, sautéed vermicelli with spicy vermicelli, and winter melon and pork rib soup. President Gu, what else do you want to eat? Bai looked at Gu Lingqing and asked. He stared at her, his gaze too sharp. He ordered, change the way you address me. Chief. Chief. Bai was careful. She saw that Gu Lingqing's expression was a little hidden, as if a storm was coming. She was really afraid of him. Gu Lingqing. Bai corrected herself. Remove, Gu. Oh. Bai took a pair of disposable chopsticks and opened it. What oh? If you call me the wrong way next time, I won't be as easy to talk to as I am now. Gu Lingqing took the menu and passed it to the waiter. Just follow her order. Bai bit the chopsticks and waited for the food. She could feel Gu Lingqing's gaze on her face. She was very nervous. Didn't she make it clear to Gu Lingqing before? Why now? She stole a glance at Gu Lingqing, met his gaze, then looked away and looked out of the window. It was already past 5:00 in the afternoon. The sun was setting, dyeing the clouds in the west red. It was very beautiful. The first dish the waiter served was pickled fish with pickled vegetables and 2 bowls of rice. Bai had her head down as she ate. Gu Lingqing removed the fish bones and placed them on her bowl. Thank you, Bai said. Gu Lingqing glanced at her. He didn't say anything and continued to help her remove the bones. Bai couldn't help but look at Gu Lingqing's hand. She felt that his skill was quite mature. He should have had a girlfriend before. This thought made her feel slightly uncomfortable. I learned it from the disc you gave me, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Ha! Bai couldn't react for a moment. You're staring at my hand. Aren't you wondering how I learned it? Gu Lingqing asked. Bai was completely stunned. This guy, he must know how to read minds. I didn't give that disc to you, Bai mumbled softly. Then who are you going to give it to? Watch it yourself. Gu Lingqing asked, sizing her up. Bai felt that the more she said, the more mistakes she made. It's Lu Shuang's. She's playing a prank. Don't always push the responsibility to others. It takes 2 hands to clap. If you want to watch it, just watch it. You're not a kid anymore. It's normal to watch it. But it's weird for a girl like you to watch it at home. I can arrange it another day, Gu Lingqing said seriously. She felt that what he said was actually a very serious problem. What are you going to do? What do you think I should do? Gu Lingqing asked her in return. You're going to arrange for me to watch it at home. Bai guessed carefully. At my house. It's quieter there. No one will disturb you, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Bai, she felt that he was going to watch it with her and then do that kind of thing. Bai was thin-skinned. She blushed again. You can tell me in advance what kind of position you like, Gu Lingqing reminded her. Bai couldn't even lift her head. Stop talking. Stop talking, she said shyly. Gu Lingqing glanced at her and replied, after dinner. It was already 18:00. The sky was getting dark. Bai thought of another serious problem. Are we going back tonight? No, we'll find a hotel nearby to stay. We'll go back tomorrow after visiting number 108. Oh. If they were staying in a hotel and not in the same room, she felt a little more at ease. However, she didn't think that there would be a hotel in the middle of nowhere in the countryside. Chapter 54. They each asked for a room. The soundproofing in this kind of hotel was very poor. Baiya listened to the babbling sounds coming from the room next door. She tossed and turned, unable to sleep. The couple next door seemed to not need to sleep. They finally calmed down. What would happen next? They were still facing the wall on her side. Dong, dong, dong. The girl was screaming miserably. Baiya was about to collapse from the noise. She went out for a walk and prepared to come back after they were done. The air in the countryside was much better than in the city. Although it was hot and there were many mosquitoes, the moon was very bright. However, the moon was very bright, and there were fireflies dancing in the grass. She hadn't seen fireflies in a long time. She still remembered that when she was young, she used a bottle to catch many fireflies and put them in her mosquito net. However, fireflies rarely glowed in the mosquito net. They were only happy in the grass. Baiya felt that something was thrown on her back. She turned around and saw a girl lying on the window of the room next to hers. The girl didn't seem to be wearing clothes. She tapped the ground and quickly closed the curtains. Baiya looked at the ground. It was a pink dress. The dress said, "Save me," in black ink. Baiya's heart tightened. Could it be that the girl next door was being held captive? Without much time to think, Baiya rushed to Gu Lingqing's door and knocked on it anxiously. Gu Lingqing opened the door. "What's wrong?" "Gu Lingqing, I suspect that the girl next door is being held captive." "Look, this is her asking me for help," Baiya said worriedly. Gu Lingqing glanced at the contents of the dress. "Don't worry, I have to confirm how many people are inside." Baiya found it hard to say it, but when she thought of the girl's safety, she couldn't care less. "They have been doing that kind of thing and it's already disturbing me. I can use this reason to knock on the door and see how many people are inside." "I'll tell you then," Baiya said. "It's too dangerous for you to knock on the door alone. Let's go together." Gu Lingqing held Baiya's hand and walked to the room next to Baiya's. Gu Lingqing knocked on the door. The door opened. A boy with dyed yellow hair blocked the door. "What's the matter?" "It's very late now. You've disturbed our rest," Gu Lingqing said, looking into the room. There were 2 girls and 5 or 6 boys, and they were all quite young. He. "Uncle, you're old, aren't you? You have such a beautiful girlfriend. Why don't we do it together? You can look at us with passion." The blonde-haired boy teased. Gu Lingqing's lips curled up. There was a hidden sharpness in Jimo's eyes. "Sure." Gu Lingqing entered the room. Baiya knew that he wanted to go in and save the 2 girls. Hearing him say that, she still blushed. She held Gu Lingqing's arm tightly. "Sister, you want to challenge all of us alone? Why don't the 6 of us go together and let Uncle challenge 2 of us? How about that? We'll definitely be better than Uncle." The blonde-haired boy teased and reached out to hook Baiya's chin. Gu Lingqing quickly pulled Baiya behind him. "Xiaoya, go back to the room and put on the pajamas I bought." Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing. When did he buy her pajamas? She roughly understood that he wanted to send her away. "Can you do it alone?" Baiya asked tentatively. Gu Lingqing smiled. "What do you think?" "Go ahead." "Uncle, you're quite interesting," the blonde-haired boy said, staring straight at Baiya. Baiya didn't want to be Gu Lingqing's burden. She walked out of the door, returned to her room and called 110. Gu Lingqing scanned the room. Beer and snacks were everywhere. There were even drug paraphernalia on the table. Your room is too messy. Why don't you go to my room? It's cleaner, Gu Lingqing said. She held the two girls' arms and pulled them out. The 6 guys followed behind them and gestured with their eyes. Gu Lingqing knocked on the door. Bai Ye saw that it was Gu Lingqing and opened the door. Gu Lingqing pushed the 2 girls in, closed the door and reminded them, lock it. The 6 guys realized that they were tricked and went to hit Gu Lingqing together. Bai Ye was worried about Gu Lingqing's safety. She looked out through the peephole. It was very messy outside. She couldn't see who was fighting who. Sister, can brother-in-law beat them alone? Blonde is trained, the girl who threw the clothes asked worriedly. Stay in the room. Don't come out. Bai Ye looked around the room. The only thing that could hurt them was the ashtray. She went to get the ashtray. A knife was pressed against Bai Ye's neck. The cold touch stimulated her skin. Bai Ye looked at the girl who threw the clothes in surprise. What are you doing? Bai Ye asked confusedly. I'm sorry, sister. We need some money. We need some, the girl who threw the clothes said. The other girl went through their wallets and took their phones. You threw the clothes on purpose to lure me to your room. Bai Ye was suspicious. I thought you were alone. Blonde likes you. I didn't expect you to be with a guy. Blonde's skills are pretty good. I'll just enjoy it and spend some money, the girl who threw the clothes laughed. Put the knife away first, Bai Ye said coldly. That won't do. Your guy is good at fighting. I still need you to get out of here, the girl who threw the clothes threatened. The other girl opened the door. Bai Ye saw that Gu Lingqing had already beaten the 6 guys to the ground. Stop, the girl who threw the clothes said. She pulled Bai Ye's arm and walked out. Gu Lingqing's eyes were sharp. He looked at the girl who threw the clothes coldly. Blonde, I've caught the beauty for you. Don't forget to give me 5 grams, the girl who threw the clothes said proudly. Blonde got up from the ground. No problem. He looked at Bai Ye. I can't believe I met such a beauty in this stupid place. We're going to have a good time today. Bai Ye frowned. While the girl who threw the clothes was distracted, he pulled her hand away and ran towards Gu Lingqing. Seeing that Bai Ye was running away, the girl who threw the clothes raised her knife and stabbed at Bai Ye. Gu Lingqing was alert. He pulled Bai Ye behind him. The girl who threw the clothes suddenly changed her direction and stabbed at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing couldn't dodge. If he did, he would stab Bai Ye. He stood stiffly and used his hand to block the attack. The knife stabbed into his arm. When the girl who threw the clothes was about to stab him again, Gu Lingqing grabbed her wrist and squeezed it. The girl who threw the clothes couldn't stand the pain. The knife fell to the ground. Bai Ye immediately picked up the knife. Beep, beep. The police sirens were heard outside. Blonde and the others ran towards the stairs. They were blocked by the police. Chapter 55. After Gu Lingqing and Bai Ye made a statement, they went to the mayor's hospital. Bai Ye was a doctor. She helped Gu Lingqing to reduce the inflammation, apply medicine, and tie the bandage. Gu Lingqing looked at her without blinking. She was very focused, and her eyes were on his arm. She frowned slightly, and there seemed to be tears flowing in her eyes. What are you thinking about? Gu Lingqing asked. It seems that nothing good happens when you meet me. The car accident last time, and now you're injured again, Bai Ye said apologetically. Why do I feel that meeting you is a good thing? If it weren't for you, the mission to keep the hostages safe and sound wouldn't have succeeded. It was also because of you that I could use the car accident as an excuse to avoid some messy things. Gu Lingqing comforted her. What about this time? This time I called you over. If I came alone, I would have been fooled too. I didn't know that the two girls were pretending. Maybe I would have died long ago, and I wouldn't have suffered such a little injury, Gu Lingqing said and held her hand. Bai Ye's heart trembled. The temperature of his palm was too high. She wanted to pull away, but he held her in his arms and restrained her. Let go of me. Bai Ye turned her face away and didn't dare to look at her. I don't want to let go, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice and looked at her with a burning gaze. Bai Ye's heart was beating very fast. Her rationality was already shaking. Gu Lingqing was a good man. Even if this kind of man just stood under the sun, he could shine brighter than the sun. Many ladies from prestigious families wanted to marry him. What did she have to do to deserve him? From the moment they met again, she found that he was so strong that she couldn't resist him. His aura was almost about to drown her. He didn't want to be polite like in the beginning, and he didn't even ask if she was willing or not. She was really afraid that she would make an unforgivable mistake. Gu Lingqing, I'm not divorced. You know that, right? Bai Ye said straightforwardly. I don't care. It's just a piece of paper. I can make this piece of paper invalid right now. Gu Lingqing released her and picked up the phone. He dialed the number. Lieutenant Colonel Shang, I'm Gu Lingqing. Find the best lawyer in the city to help Bai Ye with the divorce case. Settle it within a week. Gu Lingqing ordered domineeringly. Bai Ye was speechless. He looked at her. What other concerns do you have? Why don't you just say it all at once? I'll settle it for you. Bai Ye, don't think of hiding like a porcupine. This time, I won't let you back down. We haven't known each other for long. It's not appropriate to be so impulsive. Bai Ye stood up. Gu Lingqing held Bai Ye's arm. His gaze sharpened. Because he pulled on the wound, it split open and blood stained the gauze. You've known Su Jiran for a long time. You've been married for 3 years. Are you suitable for him? Gu Lingqing said unhappily. I've been married to him for 3 years and I still don't know who he is, let alone you. I'm not a woman who just wants to play around. I want a normal life, a husband who loves me, an adorable child, and a husband who doesn't need to be too powerful. He just needs to take care of the family. This is my thirst. Hope, Bai Ye said emotionally. Can't I give you the life you want? At least I can use my abilities to create a blue sky for you. No matter what happens outside, as long as I'm not dead, I can protect you. Gu Lingqing was annoyed. At least wait until after my divorce. What is this now? I'm Mrs. Su, not Mrs. Gu. I can't get over this, Bai Ye said impulsively. Then it's a deal. After the divorce, we'll get married, Gu Lingqing let go of her hand and said domineeringly. Bai Ye, she paused. That wasn't what she meant. She just didn't want him to force her. She was a little breathless. When he said this, Bai Ye knew that he said something wrong. Why do you have to be with me? I know myself, Bai Ye said softly. He didn't know why he had to be with her. However, 3 years ago, when he slept with her, he kept her in his heart. Knowing that she wasn't living a good life, he couldn't let her go. He wanted to give her a good life and make up for the mistake 3 years ago. Even if he had to sacrifice his entire life, he wanted to give her happiness with his body. Gu Lingqing glanced at his arm. Let's not talk about this anymore. Help me bandage it again. Bai Ye saw that he was bleeding again. Thinking about it, there was still a month before her divorce. There were still many variables that could happen. It was a little groundless for her to worry about the future now. Anyway, he wouldn't force her now. They could talk about the future in the future. Baiya untied the gauze on Gu Lingqing's arm and helped him wash it again. She applied some medicine and bandaged it. You have to take the anti-inflammatory medicine. If you don't have a fever tomorrow, you don't have to take it if you have a scar. Drink more water, Baiya instructed. Gu Lingqing smiled and stood up. What are you smiling about? Baiya looked at him, puzzled. I think it's good to listen to you nagging like this. Let's go, it's very late now. We still have to wake up early tomorrow morning. Okay, I'll drive. Baiya carried the medicine and walked in front. The roads in the countryside were very deserted. At this time, there were no cars or pedestrians. Baiya drove quietly. Gu Lingqing looked at her. What would have happened if she hadn't met him 3 years ago? Would Su Jiran treat her well? Baiya's phone rang. She saw that it was Lu Shuang's call and picked it up. What's wrong, Shuangniu? Baiya asked, puzzled. Xiao Bai, I have something to tell you. Lu Shuang's voice was very low. I'm following Su Jiran and Xing Jinyan. They're doing that kind of thing in the wilderness. Waha, I'll record it later. If Su Jiran doesn't get a divorce in a month, you'll have evidence to sue him. That shameless bastard. How could Xing Jinyan be so despicable? Be careful alone. It's very late now, Baiya said worriedly. What are you afraid of? Shen Yan is here too. He's the crown prince, who would dare to provoke him? It's fine, I'll talk to you later. They seem to be done for. Xing Jinyan is almost out of breath from all the shouting. I'll record it first, Lu Shuang said and hung up. Baiya gripped her phone tightly. This time, she should be able to divorce Su Jiran. Are you hungry? Gu Lingqing asked. She didn't eat much during dinner due to her awkwardness. After all that, when Gu Lingqing asked, she realized that she was really hungry. At this time, all the restaurants are closed and the convenience stores are closed. I have instant noodles in my room. Let's make instant noodles when we get back, Baiya suggested. Okay, Gu Lingqing replied. They were not far from the hospital, so they arrived in no time. Baiya just stopped the car. Gu Lingqing turned her face and his lips landed on hers. Baiya was shocked. Before she could react, he let go of her. Baiya, you're so silly. Su Jiran is not worthy of your love, Gu Lingqing said meaningfully. He'll grow up eventually, Baiya sighed. Chapter 56. Baiya didn't understand what Gu Lingqing meant, so she didn't dare to reply. Gu Lingqing smiled and poked her nose. Idiot, let's go. We're getting out of the car. Baiya watched him open the car door and get off. She didn't dare to ask. She got off the car, took out the car key, locked the car door and passed the key to Gu Lingqing. I'll leave the key with you first. You can drive the car first since you don't have a car, Gu Lingqing said and walked in front. Baiya felt that his words meant that he was giving her the car to drive. It's not convenient for you to drive now. I'll return the key to you tomorrow, Baiya said. Gu Lingqing looked at her. You know what I mean. Maybe you'd prefer me to drive you to and from work every day. Baiya's heart was trembling. She lowered her head. The gift is too expensive. I can't accept it. I'll repay you with my body, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. He looked ahead coldly and quickened his pace. Baiya felt that he didn't dare to accept the gift because he wanted her. But he said it out loud. She was speechless. Gu Lingqing walked to the door of her room and stopped. Baiya opened the door with a conflicted heart. Gu Lingqing walked in with a cool look on his face. Baiye went to boil water and turned on the TV. Gu Lingqing wasn't watching the TV. Instead, he was browsing on his phone. She stood there awkwardly and opened the packaging of the instant noodles. Suddenly, she felt Gu Lingqing approaching her. Her back stiffened and she didn't dare to breathe. "Why didn't you accept my gift and return what I gave you before, huh?" Gu Lingqing asked directly. She already felt that the air was thin when she was in the same space with him, let alone when he was standing behind her. "I don't like to accept things from others casually," Baiye explained. He turned her face to face with him. "We're going to get married in the future. You can't just accept my things casually, right?" Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. "Aren't we not married yet?" Baiye pushed his hand away. Gu Lingqing sneered and saw her resistance. "I'll sleep here tonight." "What?" Baiye looked at her in shock. Her eyes widened, and she could not stay calm. "It's not like we haven't slept together before. What are you worried about?" "I promise not to touch you, so I won't," Gu Lingqing said and turned around. "I'm going to take a shower first." Baiye stared at his back. She wasn't worried about what he would do, but she was worried that her rationality was too weak to do anything to him. The more she thought about it, the more she felt that something was wrong. A man and a woman alone in a room. He had that kind of feeling for her again. What if there was a fire and they caught on fire? She would regret it even if she refused. Baiye took the opportunity while he was taking a shower and said, "I don't think it's suitable to stay in the same room. I've made you some instant noodles. I'll sleep in the car." She did not wait for his reply and walked out of the door. Gu Lingqing rushed over. Baiye had just touched the handle when he picked her up and threw her on the bed. She remembered that Gu Lingqing was pressing on her shoulders. The water droplets on his hair dripped on her body. His cold, handsome face was tense, and his eyes were full of anger as he stared at her. "Do you want to make me angry?" Gu Lingqing said coldly. Baiye did not know how to explain and pushed his shoulders. His body was wet, and his shoulders were cold. She realized that he was taking a cold shower and felt a strange pity in her heart. She replied, "I'm afraid something will happen." "What happened?" Gu Lingqing's eyes became dreamy. She found it hard to speak, so she lowered her eyes. Her long eyelashes covered her eyelids, like a shy bride. Gu Lingqing's abdomen tightened and his blood flowed in reverse. He frowned. He faced her as if it was useless no matter how many cold showers he took. He could not control the urge in his body at all. Or rather, he did not want to control it at all. It was not like they had not done it before. Gu Lingqing lowered his head and kissed her lips. Baiye pushed him away in panic. He was like Mount Tai, not moving an inch. Baiye felt that his breath was getting heavier and heavier, and it fell on her face. The temperature in the room was also getting higher. Her mind was buzzing. She could not push him away, and her hands were trembling. His large palm moved down her slender waist. Baiye twisted her waist and touched his sensitive parts. She felt like she was a wolf in a tiger's den and made a final struggle. Even if Gu Lingqing raped her now, what could she do? Sue him. She would not do that. There would be no result if she sued him. However, she was not willing to have sex with him just like that. Gu Lingqing felt Baiye's resistance. He maintained his last bit of rationality and stopped. He looked at her with pain in his eyes. "Xiaoya, don't move from now on. I won't go in. But if you move, I'm afraid I won't be able to control myself. Can you trust me?" Baiye looked at him while trembling. Her eyes were wet and all kinds of thoughts were fighting in her mind. Gu Lingqing did not wait for her to reply. He was afraid that he would hear something he did not want to hear. He leaned over and kissed her forehead, the corner of her eyes, and her cheeks. His kiss was much gentler than before. Bai Yi did not dare to move. Gu Lingqing turned off the lights. It was pitch black in front of her. Gu Lingqing, what are you doing? I can't see anything, Bai Yi asked in fear. Do you want to see? Then I'll turn on the lights, Gu Lingqing said hoarsely. Bai Yi seemed to realize what he wanted to do. She quickly said, I don't want to see. Listen, I'll be responsible for you, Gu Lingqing promised. Bai Yi looked at him in the night. His shadow was very blurry, but his eyes were very bright. They were like gems in the dark. With the cover of the night, she was not as resistant and uncomfortable as before. Her face blushed a little. He was kissing her, from her cheeks to her lips, and then to her neck. His hot breath was on her skin. Her legs were warm. Bai Yi knew what it was. Although he did not touch the bottom line, she also felt that this was not good. It was not good at all. She really did not understand how powerful Su Jiran was. He could have sex with so many women. Did he not think about his married status? Even if he thought of himself as single, did he not feel guilty towards her? Even if he did not feel guilty towards her, what about Xing Jinyan? She would not be like this. If she loved one, she would never have sex with another. Gu Lingqing, are you done? Bai Yi urged. Gu Lingqing did not answer her. He kissed her lips again. Her heart was beating fast. Although she did not see it, she could guess that he must be very powerful. So powerful that she could feel its explosive power. She did not know why, but she thought of the man from 3 years ago. That man was also very powerful, domineering, and fierce like a beast. Chapter 57. He hugged her tightly and pulled her into his embrace. The air was filled with the scent of love, wantonly entering her nose. Bai Yi didn't dare to move. His breath fell on her neck, tickling her fragile heart. After a long while, Bai Yi cleared her throat. You're done. Yeah, Gu Lingqing replied. His voice was deep and didn't lose its sensuality. In the quiet night, it sounded especially pleasant, just like a radio announcer, causing one's imagination to run wild. Then do you want to take a shower? Bai Yi reminded her. Mainly because he was hugging her now, she felt very hot and her body was sticky. Not at the moment, there's no need to take a cold shower. Go to sleep, it's already very late, Gu Lingqing said gently. But he did it. She was too embarrassed to say anything else, so she closed her eyes. She thought she couldn't sleep, since there was a man lying behind her. But she was too tired, so she fell asleep after a while and didn't even eat the instant noodles. By the time she woke up, it was already morning. Bai Yi looked beside her, but Gu Lingqing was no longer there. Gu Lingqing, Bai Yi called. No one answered her. She saw that the car keys were still on the table, so Gu Lingqing probably didn't leave the hotel. Where did he go so early in the morning? Bai Yi walked into the washroom. Gu Lingqing had brushed her teeth, and the toothbrush was placed in the cup. He had squeezed some toothpaste on her toothbrush and placed it on top of the cup. Bai Yi felt a warmth in her heart. Gu Lingqing looked cold, but sometimes he was quite meticulous. She brushed her teeth and walked out of the hotel. Gu Lingqing walked over from the road, carrying a plastic bag in his hand. He walked in front of her, and the morning sunlight fell on his handsome face. His handsomeness was even more dazzling than the sun. Unconsciously, Bai Yi's heart skipped a few beats. Let's have breakfast. I've already bought it. Let's go after breakfast, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice and walked in front. "And, you woke up early?" Baya asked, following behind him. "If I don't wake up, it will wake up," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. "Who is he?" Baya was puzzled. Gu Lingqing looked at her with deep meaning in his eyes. Baya knew what it meant. She blushed and lowered her head. Gu Lingqing held her hand and said impatiently, "Hurry up and get a divorce." Baya pulled out her hand and opened the door without saying a word. The 2 bowls of instant noodles on the table yesterday, Gu Lingqing had already gone missing. He took out the breakfast he had bought. 2 steamers of xilongbao, 2 steamers of shumai, 2 deep-fried dough sticks, 2 cups of tofu soup, and 2 herbal tea eggs. He bought quite a lot. Baya ate breakfast quietly. Gu Lingqing looked at her. "Did I scare you yesterday?" Baya didn't dare to answer. If she said she was scared, Gu Lingqing would definitely be angry. She said no, as if she was inviting him to continue. "Are we going back in the afternoon?" Baya skipped over his question and asked. "Normally, we will go back in the afternoon," Gu Lingqing replied. "I have to work tomorrow," Baya reminded him. "Have you filled in the application form for working in the military?" Baya paused. "No one filled it for me." "I'll go back and tell the hospital to handle it as soon as possible," Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Baya leaned on the table, drinking the tofu soup and looking at him with her beautiful eyes. In fact, she didn't want to work in the military. In fact, she didn't want to marry him either. But why did it seem that she was led by the nose by him? There was no room for rejection at all. What exactly went wrong? "Why are you looking at me like that?" Gu Lingqing asked. "Can I not work in the military?" Baya asked. "I can't." Gu Lingqing refused simply and neatly. "What if I insist on not going? What do you think?" Gu Lingqing asked back, his eyes sharpening. Baya sighed. She relied on Gu Lingqing to get her current job. One word from him and she would definitely lose her job. If she didn't go, she wouldn't know how to appreciate his kindness. He was giving her a promotion. Baya lowered her head and ate the soup dumplings. Gu Lingqing saw her disappointment and felt helpless. "You really don't want to work in the military? If you come to my side, I can take care of you. No one will dare to bully you in the military. In fact, I'm very busy with work, so I don't have many chances to see you. If I work in the military, we can see each other every day." Baya was very touched when she heard that. She and Su Jiran had been married for 3 years. It wasn't that they didn't have the chance to see each other, but that Su Jiran didn't want to see her. That marriage had consumed all her energy and feelings. Gu Lingqing was like a poppy. She knew that if she ate too much, she would get addicted, and she might not be able to quit. However, before her rationality could reject her, she had already fallen into the trap again and again. She decided not to struggle anymore. She would give it a try. Baya took the initiative to kiss Gu Lingqing's lips. "I'll apply." Her kiss was like a dragonfly touching the surface of the water. It couldn't satisfy him at all. This time, it was the first time she had truly compromised. Gu Lingqing was excited. He pressed the back of her neck and kissed her back. His red tongue entered her mouth. He lifted the tip of her tongue and entangled her like a pair of lotus flowers. Baya closed her eyes. His kiss deepened. It was so deep that his blood was boiling. His abdomen started to tighten again. He couldn't continue anymore, so he let go of her. Her lips were already swollen from his kiss, and they were dyed with a beautiful color. Gu Lingqing cleared his throat and changed the topic. "Eat more. You're too skinny. I'll go take a shower." "Okay," Baya replied. She lowered her head in embarrassment. When she saw him, she turned her face away even more embarrassedly. When he came out, she had finished her breakfast. "I'll wait for you outside." "Okay." Gu Lingqing actually agreed in a good mood. In the car, Gu Lingqing helped her with the navigation. Bai Ye drove. "If you don't like this car, I'll get you another one," Gu Lingqing said. It was a statement. "There's no need for a car. My workplace is not far from the hospital," Bai Ye blurted out. Gu Lingqing looked at her. There was a hidden sharpness in his deep eyes. He was a little angry. "You're still living in Su Jiran's house?" "No, I'm living with Shuangniu. She has a car. I take her car to work every day," Bai Ye explained. "How many rooms does she have?" Gu Lingqing asked thoughtfully. "2. So, it's quite spacious for the two of us." "Is the soundproofing good at her place?" Gu Lingqing continued to ask. Bai Ye, she seemed to have misunderstood. Did Gu Lingqing mean that he wanted to do something with her at Lu Shuang's place? "No." Bai Ye quickly replied and dispelled his thoughts. Chapter 58. Didn't you apply to go to the military? If you apply, the military will arrange accommodation for you. That way, you won't have to drive. Also, if I go out, I should be able to apply for a military car, right? Bai Ye asked. Gu Lingqing nodded. I almost forgot about that. Soon, they arrived at Soldier 108's door. Before he entered the house, he could already hear the sounds of crying and arguing inside. Bai Ye had a bad feeling. She unbuckled her seatbelt and followed Gu Lingqing in. "Gold, put down the knife. If you die, what will I do?" "You're my only son," Soldier 108's mother cried. Gu Lingqing rushed into the room. Bai Ye saw a man on the bed holding a knife to his neck. He was very emotional and his eyes were red. He had lost both his legs. "Number 108, what are you doing?" "Put down the knife," Gu Lingqing said sternly. Number 108 saw the chief and paused. He didn't put down the knife. "I'm useless now. What's the point of living? There are no cowards in the army. Even if your limbs are broken, you have no right to end your life," Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice and walked towards number 108. Number 108 raised his chin. The knife was about to enter his skin. "Don't come over. I don't have legs. What can I do for the country? I don't want to be a burden to my wife. We've only been married for 3 months. She won't have a happy life in the future. Don't mention her. She already asked for a divorce. Why are you still thinking about her?" Number 108's mother said sadly. Gu Lingqing had a rough idea of what was going on. After number 108's surgery, he strongly requested to leave the military hospital and go home. It was probably because of this wife. Now that his wife asked for a divorce, it must have triggered him. "Where's his wife?" "Call her here," Gu Lingqing said coldly. Gold's wife refused to come. She said she won't come until the divorce is over. That ingrate. Other than the 200,000 betrothal gifts, it's almost all of our savings, number 108's mother said angrily and sadly. "Where is she now?" Gu Lingqing asked. "She lives in Yellow Flower Village number 20. The village next door," number 108's mother said. Number 108, show me your courage. Don't let a woman look down on you. "I'm going now," said Gu Lingqing sharply. Then, he turned around and walked out of the door. Bai Ye followed suit. "Isn't number 108's wife pregnant? Is she going to get a divorce even if she's pregnant? Let's take a look first." Gu Lingqing adjusted the navigation. The neighboring village was not far, and they arrived in 5 minutes. Gu Lingqing saw that the door was closed. He knocked on the door. An old lady opened the door. "I'm leader Jin Zi. I'm here to see Jin Zi's wife." Gu Lingqing explained the purpose of his visit. "Yaya doesn't want to see anyone," the old lady said with a troubled look. "Didn't she want a divorce?" "I'm here to discuss these issues with her," Gu Lingqing said coldly. "Let him in." The voice of the golden wife rang out. Gu Lingqing entered the room. Goldie's wife stood in front of Gu Lingqing. "You are Goldie's leader." "Yes. I want a divorce," the golden wife said directly. "Just because he doesn't have legs doesn't mean he can't give you happiness. He came from the special forces, so he won't have any problems with his physical strength," Gu Lingqing said vaguely. Goldie's wife's eyes turned red. "We've been married for 3 months. Other than spending time together on our wedding night, he hasn't gone home even once. Now he has time at home. You want me to accompany a man with a lower half of his body? I don't want to. People will laugh at me," Goldie's wife said firmly. Gu Lingqing looked at her deeply. "You can't get a divorce in a military marriage unless the soldier has made a grave mistake. Your husband is a hero, a pillar of the country. You can't get a divorce. But he can die. If he dies, I'll be free. I'm only 21. There's no need to waste my youth on a useless person like him," Goldie's wife said coldly. Baya felt a chill in her heart. She looked at the stomach of Goldie's wife. "Don't forget that you have a baby in your stomach. I've already aborted the baby. Why would I give a child to a useless person? If I give birth to his child, my life will be over," Goldie's wife said ruthlessly. Baya wanted to slap her. What she killed was her own flesh and blood. That kind of woman was not worthy of gold. "What's the condition for you not to get a divorce?" Gu Lingqing negotiated. "You can mention it." Goldie's wife paused. "How much can you compensate Goldie? How much do you want to compensate?" Gu Lingqing asked. 2 million. "It must be 2 million. I'll get a divorce even if it's a penny less," Goldie's wife said. "I'll compensate Goldie 2 million. Also, I'll give his parents a pension. If you don't get a divorce, I'll give it to you too. Now, come with me to see Goldie. He needs you to take care of him. Also, I hope he can go to the military hospital for treatment," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice and turned around. When Goldie's wife heard that it was 2 million, she followed behind Gu Lingqing. "Will you really compensate 2 million? "I have no reason to lie to you," Gu Lingqing said coldly. "Then we won't get a divorce. Goldie listens to me. I'll let him go to the military hospital." Goldie's wife changed her attitude. They drove back. When Goldie saw that his wife was back, he let go and the knife fell on the bed. "All right, we won't get a divorce. Let's go to the military hospital for treatment. I'll take care of you," Goldie's wife said. Goldie smiled and looked at Gu Lingqing gratefully. "Thank you, Chief. I'll arrange it. Someone will bring you to the hospital. Also, the compensation will be paid within a month. Take care of yourself," Gu Lingqing said simply and turned around to leave. In the car, Baya looked at Gu Lingqing with a heavy heart. She understood his feelings. Goldie was his soldier, so he should be very sad. Goldie's wife is not worthy of Goldie. Perhaps, there's nothing wrong with a divorce. Separation is a chance for everyone, Baya said with deep understanding. Goldie really cares about his wife. Even if she's not good, she's what he wants. I can't make a decision for Goldie because of my own opinion. All I can do is fulfill his wish, Xiaoya. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya and held her hand. Baya saw the pain that flowed through his eyes. What's wrong? A soldier's marriage can't be divorced. If we get married, we'll be together for the rest of our lives. I swear that I won't let you down in my life. In exchange, I'll let you follow me with your heart forever, Gu Lingqing said seriously. That's right. A soldier's marriage can't be divorced. If she was with him, it would be impossible for them to be separated. Because of her injury, she threw herself into someone's arms so quickly. Did she lack thinking? However, a soldier's discipline was very strong. If he was strict with himself, she would definitely not leave him. Chapter 59. They went back. I'll take you to the military area first. Baiya asked. Let's go to your place first. I'll drive. The injury on my arm is almost healed, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice and sat in the driver's seat. Baiya returned the key to him and sat in the front passenger seat. When it was almost noon, they returned to Lu Shuang's place. Baiya got out of the car, and so did Gu Lingqing. Aren't you going to invite me in? Gu Lingqing asked. Since he had already asked, she was too embarrassed to refuse. She wondered if Lu Shuang was back. She opened the door. Lu Shuang wasn't back. Luckily, she had cleaned the house before, so it didn't look messy. She went to look for shoes to see if there were any for men. Gu Lingqing picked up the book she had left on the coffee table. Baiya wanted to grab it, but it was too late. She was learning Russian and copying his notes. Well, I dropped your book in the water and it's wrinkled. I want to give it back to you after I finish copying it, Baiya explained. I heard that you're learning Russian. Gu Lingqing asked, slowly flipping through the notes she had written. Baiya's handwriting was delicate, and every stroke was clear and not sloppy at all. Her handwriting was like her person. She was actually very rigid, traditional, serious, Baiya guessed that it was Lu Shuang who told her about it, so there was nothing to hide. I have that plan. It's a bit difficult for you to learn it alone. I'll teach you, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice and sat down on the sofa. Baiya sat down next to him embarrassedly. She was a little nervous and asked, Why do you want to learn Russian? His eyes dimmed a little. I was on a mission in Russia, and I found a local translator, but the translator deliberately made a mistake, which led to the death of a comrade. From that day on, I started to learn all kinds of languages. What about you? Why do you want to learn Russian? It's probably a coincidence. Baiya didn't want to tell him the reason. In fact, she was just trying to kill time, or maybe she was thinking of him. She thought that she and Gu Lingqing would never cross paths again, so she wanted to leave behind some beautiful memories. Gu Lingqing looked at her blushing face. Because of me. There's no special reason, Baiya said guiltily, not even daring to look him in the eye. Gu Lingqing looked at her shy look and his eyes became more charming. He lifted her chin and said, Actually, I want to teach you something else. His gaze moved from her beautiful big eyes to her red lips, and his eyes became misty. Remember, I will only teach you, and you can only have me as your teacher. Baiya knew what he was talking about. However, he didn't give her too much time to think and kissed her on the lips. He wasn't in a hurry to enter. His tongue lingered on her lips, moistening her heart, and then slowly entered her mouth. His hands unbuttoned her clothes, one button at a time. Baiya pushed him away. Didn't we agree to wait until after the divorce? Gu Lingqing let go of her. He couldn't control himself every time he was with her. He hated her current identity. Are you hungry? Let's go out and eat. Gu Lingqing changed the topic. Okay. Baiya quickly stood up and unbuttoned her shirt. They went out. Baiya had just gotten into Gu Lingqing's car when her phone rang. She took out her phone from her bag and saw that it was Su Jiran calling. She instinctively didn't want to answer it. She hung up. Su Jiran called again. Baiya adjusted herself and answered the call. What's up? Can't I call you if there's nothing? Su Jiran said evilly. I think you'll be very busy. I'll come to see you no matter how busy I am. Aren't you at home? Su Jiran looked at the window of Baiya's room. Baiya didn't want to chat with him. I'm staying at Lu Shuang's place. I have something to do. I'll hang up first. Baiya didn't wait for his reply and hung up. I don't think you should tell him where you're staying, Gu Lingqing said coldly. He'll know that he's a pervert even if I don't tell him. I'll tell him that I'm staying at Lu Shuang's place. He knows Lu Shuang's temper, so he won't do anything stupid, Baiya explained. I'll arrange a place for you tomorrow. I don't want him to have a chance to harass you, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Now that Su Jiran and Xing Jinyan were showing off their affection, she didn't think that Su Jiran would harass her again. However, seeing that Gu Lingqing had made up his mind, she didn't say anything. After dinner, Gu Lingqing drove her back. Well, you still have a lot of things to do in the military, like the gold, Baiya reminded him. He really should go back to the military for a meeting. I'll call you later, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Okay. Soon, he drove Baiya downstairs. Baiya unbuckled her seatbelt and got out of the car. Gu Lingqing followed her. Baiya, he called. Baiya looked at him. He didn't say anything. He lowered his head and kissed Baiya's lips. Baiya's heart was beating so fast that it felt like it was going to jump out of her throat. They were in broad daylight. It would be bad if someone saw them. She pushed him away. Gu Lingqing pinched her nose. Coward, you'll be fine when you stop being a coward. You, go back, Baiya said, blushing. She turned around and walked to the elevator. Gu Lingqing's lips curled up slightly. He went back to the car and drove away. None of them noticed that there was a car in the dark. Su Jiran narrowed his eyes, and there was a dangerous coldness in them. When he saw that Gu Lingqing kissed Baiya, and Baiya didn't reject it, he felt very uncomfortable, as if someone had buried a thorn in his heart. He was jealous, and his face turned livid. When he thought that after he divorced Baiya would blossom under Gu Lingqing, he couldn't stay calm anymore. He picked up his phone and made a call. Baiya saw that the caller was still Su Jiran. She really didn't want to answer it, so she hung up. She took a shower and washed her clothes. When she thought of Gu Lingqing's kiss and what happened in the hotel, a strange feeling flowed in her heart. Half an hour later, a message rang on her phone. Baiya saw that it was from Lu Shuang. I'm in room 1809 of Junkie Hotel. Come over quickly, I have something important to discuss. Baiya was surprised. If Lu Shuang had something to talk to her about, why didn't he come back and tell her? Instead, he invited her to the hotel. Besides, Lu Shuang should have called her. Baiya dialed Lu Shuang's number. Su Jiran sat on the sofa gloomily, playing with Lu Shuang's phone. When he saw that it was a call from Baiya, he hung up. Lu Shuang was Baiya's only friend. According to his understanding of her, no matter how suspicious she was, she would definitely come back. Thinking of this, his eyes were overflowing with color. He got up and went to the bathroom to take a shower. Baiya came to the door of room 1809. The more she thought about it, the more strange she felt. She was worried that something had happened to Lu Shuang. Before she came, she bought pepper spray and put it in her bag vigilantly. She rang the doorbell, and the door was opened. Chapter 60. Seeing that it was Su Jiran who opened the door, Baiya was very surprised. She realized that something had happened to Lu Shuang. Where is Lu Shuang? Baiya asked, looking behind Su Jiran. Su Jiran smiled wickedly and moved aside. Come in and talk. Baiya saw him dressed like that and subconsciously held her bag tightly. There is no need to come in. Why is Lu Shuang's phone with you? Where is she? Seeing that she did not come in, Su Jiran picked up Lu Shuang's phone, opened the photo album, and handed it to Baiya. Baiya took the phone suspiciously. She saw the photo album on the phone. It was actually a nude photo of Lu Shuang. She widened her eyes in surprise. Keep looking, there are many more, Su Jiran said with a smile. He looked at her aggressively, but there was no smile in his eyes. Where is Lu Shuang? Where is she now? What did you do to her? Baiya asked anxiously. I will give you 3 seconds to come in. After 3 seconds, I will post these photos on the internet. Su Jiran. You are despicable, Baiya said angrily. You call this despicable? You are looking down on me. Su Jiran nodded and glanced at the room. The male lead is Shen Yin. As long as these photos are posted, even if Lu Shuang does not want to marry him, she will have to marry him. As far as I know, Shen Yin has more women than me. You've seen what he's like. Su Jiran said with a smile. Baiya had no choice but to step into his room and said helplessly, What do you want? Su Jiran closed the door slowly. Hearing the door click, Baiya's heart tightened and her back stiffened. He put his hand on her shoulder. The hairs on her body stood on end. Su Jiran seemed to be playing a psychological game. He leaned over and whispered in her ear, There's no need for a month. I can tell you my decision now. I won't divorce. Baiya glanced at Su Jiran. She was no longer calm. Why don't you get a divorce? The person you love is Xing Jinyan, the person who made you spend so much money is also Xing Jinyan, and the person who is more compatible with you is Xing Jinyan. If you mind me spending a fortune for Xing Jinyan, I can also do the same for you. Two people who don't love each other living together will only make them more tired of each other. Roared Baiya. Su Jiran held her waist and pulled her closer. Baiya pushed his chest. Then fall in love again, Su Jiran ordered. Impossible. Baiya said with certainty. Su Jiran looked down at her with a murderous look in his sharp eyes. I'll give you 1 day to break up with Gu Lingqing. Otherwise, I'll start with Lu Shuang. Su Jiran took back Lu Shuang's phone from Baiya's hand and waved it. Baiya's heart skipped a beat. Where is Lu Shuang now? He should have gone back. I'll wait for your news tomorrow, said Su Jiran as he let go of Baiya's hand. His eyes were full of disdain and coldness. Baiya rushed out of Su Jiran's room and returned to Lu Shuang's place. Lu Shuang was really back. Shuang, where have you been? Baiya asked worriedly. Lu Shuang shrugged. I was bitten by a pig. I went to the hospital to have a full body checkup in case I got sick. How could this happen? Baiya's eyes turned red. It's all my fault. I was careless. When I was taking photos of Su Jiran and Xing Jinyan, I was discovered by Su Jiran. He's such a pervert. He took my phone and gave Shen Yin and me drugs. I'm so angry, Lu Shuang was annoyed. Lu Shuang. Baiya held Lu Shuang's hand tightly. Should we sue him? Please don't. Shen Yin's identity is very special. I don't want to go for wool and come home shorn. It's fine to lose him once. If he wants me to marry him, he might as well kill me, said Lu Shuang impatiently. Baiya's heart sank. She looked at Lu Shuang with pity. I'm sorry, Xiao Bai. I wanted to help you get the evidence, but I was framed. Next time, I won't let Su Jiran go. I promise, said Lu Shuang. Bai Ye's eyes dimmed. Lu Shuang was in trouble because of her. She couldn't ruin Lu Shuang's reputation and force him to marry Shen Yan again. Lu Shuang's character was the complete opposite of hers. She could endure the hardships of life. But Lu Shuang couldn't. If Lu Shuang married someone he didn't love and couldn't get a divorce, it would be more painful than killing her. Lu Shuang was her only good friend. Tears flowed out of her eyes. They were warm and wet. Seeing Bai Ye crying, Lu Shuang hurriedly comforted her. Xiao Bai, don't cry. I'm fine. I'll just take it that I've slept with a skillful, handsome, and well-built young man. It's not a loss. Bai Ye lowered her head and raised the corner of her mouth. She didn't want Lu Shuang to worry. Tears streamed down her cheeks. She knew that she was crying for her love with Gu Lingqing. It ended without a beginning. She was still crying for her fate. It seemed that God was always playing a joke on her. But at least she had a clear conscience. She would never feel at ease for the rest of her life if she hurt Lu Shuang. How could she be happy? Her love should not be built on hurting others, especially her good friends. Crying and crying, Bai Ye couldn't control herself. She sat on the sofa, buried her face in her palms, and cried out loud. Although Lu Shuang was careless, he also felt that something was wrong. Xiao Bai, what's wrong? Su Jiran bullied you again, didn't he? I'll go and fight with him. He's a big jerk. He should get lost, Lu Shuang said angrily and walked towards the door. Shuangniu. Bai Ye was worried about Lu Shuang. She was no match for Su Jiran. Su Jiran was from the health bureau. One word from him could make Lu Shuang's father step down. She didn't want Lu Shuang to be impulsive. It has nothing to do with Su Jiran. I'm sad about what happened between me and Gu Lingqing, Bai Ye explained. Oh, how are you and him? Lu Shuang asked with concern. Bai Ye shook her head and wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes. Nothing much. I want to treat him to dinner tonight. Can you give us some space? Of course, no problem. You should get close to Gu Lingqing and get rid of Su Jiran. Su Jiran is a scumbag among scumbags. At most, he can't change his scumbag nature, Lu Shuang said angrily. She felt that she was still quite clean and pure. In university, when her classmates were busy dating, she studied hard and worked part-time when she was free. She never dated, let alone had sex with men. Except for the time when she was raped, her second time was still there. She had been shaken and wanted to marry Gu Lingqing after the divorce. But now, she might not be able to get a divorce for the rest of her life. Su Jiran might even, she wanted to marry Gu Lingqing completely before she was tarnished. It could be a beautiful memory, a repayment, or an end. She didn't want to have any regrets. Chapter 61. Bai Ye plucked up her courage and called Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing, this is Bai Ye. I want to treat you to dinner tonight. Are you free? Bai Ye asked. Her eyes were already red. Yeah, I'll come over when I'm free, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Bai Ye frowned. She turned her face away and hung up the phone before she revealed her emotions. Last time, she invited him to dinner because she wanted to make things clear to him. This time, they still couldn't go on. She felt uncomfortable. There was a pressure in her body that couldn't find an outlet. It was about to burn her up. She threw the phone on the floor. Lu Shuang heard the noise outside and walked out of the room. She saw that Bai Ye was not right. She asked worriedly, Xiao Bai, what's wrong? Is Gu Lingqing unwilling to come over? Bai Yi shook her head. She reached out and held Lu Shuang in her arms. She said in a choked voice, promise me that you will be happy in the future. Yeah, Xiao Bai, what happened? Don't scare me, Lu Shuang asked. He pushed Bai Yi away and looked at Bai Yi's eyes. Bai Yi smiled. She just wanted to bear all the bad things alone. If she told Lu Shuang, it would only make Lu Shuang sad and impulsive. It's nothing. I just felt something. I'll go out to buy groceries later. I can't stay with you. Bai Yi picked up the phone on the floor. Lu Shuang watched Bai Yi go out. Her figure was very lonely. He didn't know why, but he had a feeling that something big had happened. Bai Yi went to the supermarket. She remembered that Gu Lingqing couldn't eat lobster. She chose a Christian carp, fillet, beef tenderloin, green peppers, eggs, meat slices, carrots, tofu, and 2 bottles of wine. At the checkout counter, she took 2 boxes of Durex. After paying, she quickly put the Durex into her handbag. She went back and made a tofu Christian carp soup, braised pork ribs, a green pepper beef tenderloin, and carrot slices. She also minced some of the meat slices and made stewed eggs. After he was done, he took a shower and sat at the dining table in a daze. Gu Lingqing dealt with the military affairs as fast as he could and went to the place where Bai Yi was now. He knocked on the door, and Bai Yi opened it. A burst of rich aroma wafted into his nose. It had the warmth of home. He walked in, and Bai Yi closed the door. He grasped her arm, pulled her to him, leaned down, and kissed her lips. Bai Yi closed her eyes and didn't push him away. After today, they would really become 2 strangers. From now on, we will not contact each other again. She wanted to burn herself with all her might. Tonight, don't think about right or wrong. Gu Lingqing felt the wetness at the corner of his mouth and looked at Bai Yi in surprise. Why are you crying? Did I hurt you? Before she met him, she almost never cried. To her, tears were just a sign of weakness. Crying made her enemies happy and her loved ones in pain. However, when she thought about how they were going to be apart, her tears flowed uncontrollably. Bai Yi shook her head and smiled like a pear blossom. You're early. Isn't the meal ready? Gu Lingqing wiped the tears at the corner of his eyes, kissed her on the cheek, and held her hand as they walked to the dining table. Bai Yi sat down at the dining table and poured some red wine for them. Gu Lingqing tasted a piece of braised pork ribs. How is it? Bai Yi wanted to know and asked. Very good, Gu Lingqing praised and ate another piece. Bai Yi propped her head up, took a sip of wine, and looked at him in a daze. When they first met, he was so high and mighty, distant and noble. She didn't expect that they would have such a day. They ate together, tasted wine together, and were like lovers. Previously, he had forced her to the point that she couldn't breathe. When she was about to lose him, she realized that she was actually willing to be with him. People always cherish things after they have lost them. What they care about is always what they can't get and what they have lost. Gu Lingqing looked at Bai Yi. Why are you looking at me like that? You're not eating. You're so handsome. Your eyebrows are beautiful, your eyes are beautiful, your nose is beautiful, and your lips are beautiful too, Bai Yi said softly. Gu Lingqing was quite pleased with her compliment. Are you infatuated? Bai Yi took a sip of red wine and held it in her mouth. The wine was bitter and astringent, just like her current mood. She stood up, moved her face closer to Gu Lingqing and kissed him on the lips. Gu Lingqing looked at her. The current Bai Yi was a little special. She was much more passionate than usual. Do you want it? Gu Lingqing asked. There was an additional layer of fantasy in his eyes as he looked at her. Baya replied, not denying it. Gu Lingqing only felt a stream of hot blood starting from his brain and rushing to his abdomen. Her destroyed all his rationality, forbearance, and reserve. Gu Lingqing pressed the back of her head and deepened the kiss. He entered her mouth and pulled her into his arms. Baya hugged the back of his neck and kissed him back. Their breaths intertwined in the air and landed on each other's faces. To her, Gu Lingqing was like the sun, emitting heat and falling on her cold skin. She longed for the sun to drive away the coldness in her heart. But she was also worried that if she got too close, she would burn herself. Baya kissed along his lips to his Adam's apple. She tangled with his rolling for a while, and her fingers trembled as she unbuttoned his suit. Gu Lingqing carried her up. Is that room yours? The one on the left. Aren't you going to shower? Baya asked, her face turning red. Together? Gu Lingqing asked, his voice a little hoarse. I've just showered. You can shower. I put a towel in the bathroom. It's the one I used before. I've washed it, it's clean, Baya said gently. Gu Lingqing smiled and put her on the bed. I don't mind you. He walked into the bathroom. When Baya heard the sound of water, her heart beat extremely fast. She exhaled, and exhaled again. She pulled the curtains down and put the condoms in her bag on the table. After thinking for a while, she took off her clothes, put them on the bedside table, and crawled under the blanket. She still felt nervous. She was also 24 years old, reaching the age where women were more important. She had been in an empty house for 3 years, and her husband had cheated on her a few times. She shouldn't feel guilty. She shouldn't feel constrained either. Baya kept convincing herself and numbing herself. Soon, she might not be able to withstand the torture and die. Before she died, if she didn't have something with Gu Lingqing, she wouldn't be able to rest in peace. Thinking of this, she calmed down a lot. Gu Lingqing came out of the bathroom with a towel wrapped around his waist, revealing his chocolate-like abs. He walked towards Baya. His figure was too burly, and Baya didn't dare to look at him, so she buried her face in the blanket. Gu Lingqing sat on the bed, lifted the blanket, and revealed his face. Chapter 62. Baya nodded. She had thought it through very clearly. She lowered her head. Her long eyelashes left a silhouette at the corner of her eyes. Still shadow-sinking jade was so beautiful. There was a surge of emotions in his heart, flowing into his blood. He rolled over and pulled the covers off her. She was like a holy white jade, her skin was smooth and transparent, and her stomach was flat. She was as beautiful as a forest elf. He looked down at her and kissed her lips, her neck, her collarbone, and down her beautiful curves. Baya let out a soft moan. She wasn't too sure about that feeling, but she felt that wherever Gu Lingqing passed by, there would be waves of indescribable feelings. He was more meticulous than she had imagined. Usually, he was domineering, not giving her any breathing space. But this time, he was very gentle, patient, and not in a hurry. He was also afraid that he would hurt her, making her afraid and resistant. Gu Lingqing placed his hand on her knee and lowered his head. Baya's muscles were tense, and she clenched her fists. She didn't know that she could do this, and her voice became sharper. No, Gu Lingqing can't do this. Under his touch, she became more and more excited, until Gu Lingqing heard her crying voice and guessed that she had done it. Baya felt embarrassed, and she turned her face away, not daring to look at him. Gu Lingqing smiled, held her chin, and made her look at him. Not bad, he said. Baiya's eyes flickered, and she responded, Gu Lingqing laughed happily. Her acknowledgement made him happier than winning a battle. He kissed her slowly, letting her get used to it. 3 years ago, he was controlled by the drug, and he was very rough and barbaric. He should have made her suffer for the first time. With guilt and the intention to make it up to her, he kissed her lips very slowly this time. Baiya felt the pain, and her face paled. The first time in her memory brought her nothing but pain. Actually, she really didn't understand why those women liked to have sex with Su Jiran so much. It obviously didn't feel good. Could it be because of love? Baiya gasped. She did not cry out in pain. Even her cries of surprise were suppressed. But Gu Lingqing knew that she was in pain. Xiaoya, relax. I won't hurt you. I promise, I'll be responsible for you. Gu Lingqing tried his best to comfort her. Baiya stared at him. Because it was him, she gradually relaxed. She still remembered the first time she saw him. He told her that as long as he was alive, nothing would happen to her. The second time, because of him, she was drunk, but she was safe and sound. He even gave her a set of cosmetics. The third time they met, she had helped him pretend to be his girlfriend, and he had protected her from injury. At that time, she had felt that he was so manly. And then there was the 4th, 5th, and 6th meeting. He always protected her. In the future, they might not meet again. Even if they did, they could only treat each other as strangers. Baiya wrapped her arms around his waist and pulled him to her side. Even if it was painful, she was willing to bear it. She took the initiative to kiss Gu Lingqing. She closed her eyes and felt that he was now in her world, bearing everything that he had given her. Gradually, the expected pain was no longer there. Instead, she felt very comfortable. She let go of him and looked at him attentively. Panting, sinking, panting again, sinking again, half an hour later, Gu Lingqing held her in his arms. Only then did she remember that none of them had worked. It seemed that she should go and buy medicine. Baiya did not move in his arms. She quietly enjoyed the last warmth. He kissed her on the forehead. Thank you, Xiaoya, Gu Lingqing said in a good mood. Baiya looked at him. Thank you for giving yourself to me. Gu Lingqing smiled. When he smiled, he was very charming. She did not want to say cruel words at this time. She was too greedy for the happiness now. Baiya hugged Gu Lingqing and buried her face in his arms. She took a deep breath, and her nose was filled with his refreshing smell, like the smell of the sun on the grass. She wanted to remember him forever. She fell asleep. Maybe it was too warm now, or maybe she was too tired after the exercise. She fell asleep. When she woke up, it was already dark. Gu Lingqing was not by her side. She was a little flustered and shouted, Gu Lingqing. What's wrong? Gu Lingqing pushed the door open, turned on the light, and walked to her worriedly. Did you have a nightmare? I thought you left, Baiya said softly and sat up with the quilt covering her. I was dealing with some work. I was afraid that it would disturb you, so I went outside to deal with it, Gu Lingqing explained. You must be hungry. I'll go heat up the food for you. Baiya took her clothes. He helped her button up. Let's go together. I can't bear to let you work in the kitchen alone. Baiya's heart skipped a beat. She felt the feeling of being cherished by Gu Lingqing. Actually, this was how a husband should be, wasn't it? Cooking together, doing housework together, chatting together, sleeping together, everything together. Baiya's eyes reddened a little. She was afraid that Gu Lingqing would see through her emotions, so she lowered her head and pretended to look for her shoes. Gu Lingqing bent over, found her slippers, and put them on for her. Baiya put on a long dress and followed him out. Gu Lingqing came in with the dishes, and she heated them up. If only I could eat your cooking every day. Gu Lingqing sighed. I don't really like the food prepared by the military. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing, pursed her lips, and did not say a word. Gu Lingqing tapped her nose. You don't want to. Then I'll learn and cook for you. Ha. Baiya chuckled and skipped the topic. After a while, they heated up the dishes and ate together. I've already found a lawyer. I'll send a lawyer's letter to Su Jiran starting tomorrow. You can leave within a week, Gu Lingqing said. Baiya lowered her head and did not say a word. After you get divorced, I'll bring you home to meet my parents. Don't worry, even if they don't agree, I'll still marry you. They can't order me around, Gu Lingqing promised. Baiya's heart ached, and her tears dripped into the bowl. She ate it with the rice. I'm going to find a good day to get married next month. Since I've already decided, I don't want any undue delays. Gu Lingqing was in a good mood today, and it was rare for him to talk so much. Baiya closed her eyes, and held the chopsticks tightly, as if she was going to break them. Gu Lingqing. Baiya raised her head and looked at him. Her eyes were red, and they were filled with tears. Gu Lingqing saw her like this, and his eyes were filled with pity. His fingertips brushed the corners of Baiya's eyes. Did I say anything wrong? Baiya clenched her teeth. Her heart was so sad, as if it was weighed down by 1,000 pounds. She could no longer bear it, and the weight of 1,000 pounds had crushed her heart. I've actually been playing with you, Baiya said resolutely, and her tears flowed uncontrollably. Chapter 63. From the beginning, I only loved my husband, Su Jiran. I got together with you to provoke him, so I never thought about getting a divorce, Baiya said in one breath. She raised her chin and was very determined. Gu Lingqing looked at her face. I don't believe it. If what you said is true, why are you crying? If you only love your husband, what did we do just now mean? Gu Lingqing looked at her fiercely. I cried because I don't know if what I did was right or wrong. I slept with you because you helped me a lot, and I can't repay you. I know that you always wanted to sleep with me, so I used this way to repay you. Baiya sniffled and did not dare to look at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing narrowed his eyes and looked at Baiya. I'm only giving you one chance now. Tell me, is what you said true? I don't believe that you don't have feelings for me. Chief Gu, you're tall, handsome, have a good figure, and have supreme power. No matter what kind of woman she is, she will have feelings for you. I'm just an ordinary woman, but I know what I want. Baiya raised her head and looked straight at Gu Lingqing. Since it had already started, she could not end it. She could only bite the bullet and carry on to the end. What do you want? Gu Lingqing asked. Her chest was moving up and down violently because she was not calm, and her eyes were sharper. I want to get Su Jiran. I want to take back everything that I lost. Love, marriage, family. Before Baiya could finish, Gu Lingqing smashed the bowl on the ground and looked at her fiercely. You want me to stop disturbing you and leave your life completely? Yes. Baiya said firmly, let's end it here today. I should also return to my family. In the future, stay away from women like me. Baiya walked to the door and opened it. Please get out. Don't come back here again. If we meet again, pretend that we don't know each other. Gu Lingqing coldly stood up and looked at her with a deep gaze. There was pain in his eyes. He didn't believe that her shyness and tenderness in bed were fake. He didn't believe that Su Jiran, who was such a scumbag, would still want to stay by his side. He didn't believe that she was telling the truth. He really didn't believe that her sudden change was just because she had enough fun. Have you ever liked me? Gu Lingqing asked in a cold voice, his gaze scrutinizing her eyes, as if he could see through her like an X-ray. Nope. We're all adults, and we're just playing around. Now that my husband doesn't want to divorce me, I also choose to rein in the horse before it's too late. Bai Ye choked and said, trying not to cry out loud. Gu Lingqing approached her. His aura was too strong. Bai Ye turned her face away. Gu Lingqing stood in front of her. Your husband doesn't want to divorce you, so you think that you can't get a divorce, so you gave yourself to me and are ready to break up with me, right? I don't know what you're talking about. Bai Ye refused to look at him. I'll definitely get him to divorce me. Don't you believe me? Gu Lingqing looked at her helplessly. It wasn't that she didn't believe her, but she knew Su Jiran's character too well. Let's go. Bai Ye turned her back to him. She couldn't hold back her tears and they flowed out. She returned to her room and locked the door. The room was still filled with Gu Lingqing's scent. But she had chased the person she wanted to keep the most out of her world. She closed the only window, leaving only cold and darkness in her world. Bai Ye leaned against the door and squatted down. She wrapped her arms around her ankles and buried her face in her knees. She suppressed her voice and cried. Gu Lingqing stared at the door of Bai Ye's room. He definitely didn't believe that what she said was true. He walked out and closed the door. He came down from the elevator and called Lu Shuang. What happened to Bai Ye? Gu Lingqing asked directly. You also think that something happened to Bai Ye, right? I don't know, but I think something must have happened to Bai Ye. Her emotions are very abnormal. Lu Shuang told Gu Lingqing his thoughts. Help me ask what happened. No matter what it is, I can solve it. Do you understand? Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Okay, I'll tell you immediately after I know. Are you leaving now? If you leave, I'll go back. Bai Ye said that she would treat you to a meal and asked me not to stay at home. Okay, go back and accompany her. Call me immediately if anything happens, Gu Lingqing said. He turned around and looked at Bai Ye's room. She had turned off the lights. He absolutely believed that she must have had her difficulties. Lu Shuang thought about it. Could it have something to do with her? She and Shen Yan had sex. She was in a daze and couldn't remember anything. When she woke up, she and Shen Yan were not wearing any clothes. Moreover, her phone was missing. She went to the mobile office to get a new card and bought a new phone. Could it be that the problem was with the previous phone? The more Lu Shuang thought about it, the more he felt that the problem was with her. She went back and turned on the lights. Bai Ye was sitting on the sofa drinking red wine. Her face was red and she was a little drunk. Her eyes were red and swollen, and her face was full of tears. Xiao Bai, what on earth happened? Why did you drink so much? Lu Shuang snatched the red wine from Bai Ye's hands. Cool cow, give me the wine. I feel a little sad today. I'll be happy after I finish drinking. Tomorrow, I'll forget everything about my life. Bai Ye snatched the wine back. Lu Shuang put the wine bottle behind him. Tell me clearly. Why are you sad? What are you forgetting? What are you happy about? Bai Ye didn't want to say it. Give me the wine. What did Su Jiran force you to do? Does he not want to get a divorce? He's such a scumbag. How could he be so despicable? He has Xing Jinyan and so many beautiful women, and he still wants to hold you back. Lu Shuang was very agitated. I'll find a few people to settle the score with him. She threw the wine bottle into the dustbin and walked towards the door. Don't go. Bai Ye shouted. Either you tell me what happened now, or I'll beat Su Jiran to death. Sister, go visit me in prison. I'm not joking with you, Lu Shuang said impulsively. Bai Ye didn't say anything. Lu Shuang picked up the stick beside the door, opened the door and went out. He took a video of you and Shiniyin, Bai Ye said helplessly. Lu Shuang turned around in surprise and looked at Bai Ye. You're saying that Su Jiran, that bastard, drugged me and Shiniyin, and even took a video of me and Shiniyin? Is he courting death? Chapter 64. I'll kill them and then I'll kill myself. I, Lu Shuang, won't let them lead me by the nose, Lu Shuang said angrily. Can you stop being so impulsive? Lu Shuang pushed Bai Ye away. Bai Ye staggered back a few steps and fell to the ground. Lu Shuang's heart skipped a beat. He held Bai Ye's hand worriedly. Bai Ye shook off Lu Shuang's hand. Her eyes were red and she said anxiously, if you kill them, what about your parents? What about me? I'll die with you, okay? Lu Shuang knew that he was impulsive. He knelt down beside Bai Ye and said apologetically, I'm sorry, Xiao Bai. I've hurt you. Bai Ye knew that Lu Shuang meant well. She couldn't blame him. Shuang girl, just pretend that nothing happened. I'll handle it, Bai Ye said in a deep voice. What are you going to do? Su Jiran said that as long as I don't divorce and break up with Gu Lingqing, he won't put these things on the internet. What does Su Jiran want to do? He already has Xing Jinyan, Lu Shuang said anxiously. Bai Ye calmed down. He probably felt that his toy was taken away, so he took action to vent his anger. What about you and Gu Lingqing? If you don't divorce, you won't be able to be with Gu Lingqing, Lu Shuang said guiltily. Thinking of Gu Lingqing, Bai Ye's heart ached. Some things are called fate. If you don't have it, you'll lose it in the future even if you insist on it now. I'll explain it to him now. Lu Shuang stood up. Bai Ye held her arm. What's the use of explaining it to him? If I don't divorce, do you want him to cheat on me? That will hurt him. Promise me, don't tell him about it. Then what should we do? We can't let him misunderstand. Maybe he has a solution. Lu Shuang was so anxious that he was about to cry. Promise me, Bai Ye said firmly and tightened his grip on her arm. Lu Shuang pursed his lips and said nothing. You want to see me die, don't you? Bai Ye's eyes were misty. Lu Shuang was afraid that Bai Ye would die. Okay, I promise you, I won't tell Gu Lingqing. Bai Ye loosened his grip and returned to his room. She couldn't sleep that night. Lu Shuang couldn't sleep, and so did Gu Lingqing. In the morning, Lu Shuang entered the office with dark circles under his eyes. She saw Gu Lingqing waiting for her in her office. Her eyes flashed with surprise. However, when he recalled Bai Ye telling him not to tell him, his eyes dimmed again. Why did you come to see me? Lu Shuang asked. Gu Lingqing examined Lu Shuang's expression and asked directly, what problem is Bai Ye facing now? Lu Shuang wanted to say something but stopped. She thought she was being selfish. She thought that Bai Ye was suffering too much. If Bai Ye stayed with a scumbag like Su Jiran for the rest of her life, she wouldn't be able to live. She didn't want to be in Bai Ye's hands anymore. Chief Gu, actually, Bai Ye really needs your help, Shuang, do me a favor. Bai Ye opened the door and saw Gu Lingqing standing in Lu Shuang's office. She was slightly stunned and saw Lu Shuang's panicked face. She realized why Gu Lingqing was looking for Lu Shuang. I think I made it very clear yesterday. Why are you here? Bai Ye said to Gu Lingqing coldly. Bai Ye, don't be like this. Lu Shuang didn't want Bai Ye to fall out with Gu Lingqing. Bai Ye's sharp gaze landed on Lu Shuang's face. It was the first time Lu Shuang saw the anger in Bai Ye's eyes. She was slightly stunned and swallowed all the words she wanted to say. She stood aside. Gu Lingqing sensed something was wrong. She lowered her stance and asked softly, "What problem are you facing? Tell me and I can help you." "Why do I need your help with my problem? Who are you to me? Besides, I don't have any problem," Bai Ye said decisively and opened the door. "Please leave. I have business to talk to Lu Shuang. I've kissed you, touched you, and slept with you. Who do you think I am to you?" Gu Lingqing was also a little angry. Lu Shuang opened his eyes wide in surprise. It turned out that Bai Ye had slept with Chief Gu. Bai Ye was a good girl. Bai Ye turned her face away. "I made it very clear yesterday that I've been playing with your feelings. Just take it as a one-night stand. I was just too lonely, so I did something wrong. I only love my husband." "Bai Ye, that's not what you think," Lu Shuang explained anxiously. Bai Ye frowned and looked at Lu Shuang angrily. "I'm telling the truth. Didn't you bet with me whether he would sleep with me or not? Can't you afford to lose the 500 yuan? I even promised you." "Bai Ye." Lu Shuang looked at Bai Ye, discrediting him. Bai Ye raised her chin and looked at Gu Lingqing. "Do you still remember that club? It was the time when I was drunk. It wasn't a chance encounter. Shuang Niu brought me to look for a man on purpose." "Don't say that." Lu Shuang wanted to cry. "It's not like that. The truth is that my husband has changed, and so have I. I won't get a divorce, and I don't want anyone to affect our relationship as husband and wife. Can you let me go?" Bai Ye said in a choked voice. Her cold eyes drowned all her real thoughts in her eyes. Gu Lingqing didn't believe her. She looked at Lu Shuang. Did Su Jiran change his mind? Why would that scumbag change his mind? Lu Shuang blurted out. "Gu Lingqing, don't tell me you've really fallen in love with a married woman like me." Bai Ye interrupted. "What's her problem?" Gu Lingqing ignored Bai Ye and asked Lu Shuang directly. Lu Shuang looked at Bai Ye and then at Gu Lingqing. "I was raped 3 years ago, and I'm pregnant," Bai Ye said coldly. Gu Lingqing looked at Bai Ye in surprise. He was completely shocked. "You're pregnant?" "Yes, Gu Lingqing. Don't mess with a woman like me anymore. We're in heaven and on earth. We're not suitable. Where's the child?" Gu Lingqing continued to ask. Lu Shuang raised his chin. "I don't need to report to you about my matters." Gu Lingqing clamped Bai Ye's chin. "I say, where's the child?" Bai Ye turned her face away and bit her lip so hard that it bled. Lu Shuang felt sorry for Bai Ye. She compromised. "Bai Ye, you win. I'm willing to accept the 500 yuan. When I told him that you needed help, he looked so stupid. He thought that you really had a problem last night." Lu Shuang smiled. Bai Ye looked at Lu Shuang. "I told you that he's in love with me. That's all there is to him, Chief." Gu Lingqing scrutinized Bai Ye's beautiful face. He saw the disdain in Bai Ye's eyes, as well as the mockery of love. For a moment, he didn't seem to know her. Bai Ye didn't dare to look at the pain in Gu Lingqing's eyes. He was afraid that he would suffocate from the heartache. Chapter 65. You let Su Jiran touch you. Gu Lingqing's eyes turned cold. His eyes were like an icy lake, desolate and cold. Bai Ye lowered his eyes. His long eyelashes covered the fluctuation in his eyes. Lu Shuang looked at Bai Ye nervously. All men would care about this. If Baiya admitted it, then the relationship between her and Gu Lingqing would be over. She really hoped that Baiya could deny it. Baiya uttered a word from his throat. Pain flowed through Gu Lingqing's eyes. It merged into his boundless eyes and became obscure. After sleeping with me, you slept with Su Jiran? Gu Lingqing asked coldly. His face was livid. There was no warmth at all. Baiya closed his eyes. There was bitterness and sadness in his eyes. You can leave now, Gu Lingqing said in despair. He walked out of Lu Shuang's office without a trace of reluctance. Tears flowed out of Baiya's eyes. She could not bear to part with him, could she be heartbroken, and could do nothing about it. Finally, she tried her best to drive away the last trace of warmth. Her heart was about to suffocate. Her breath was thin. Seeing Baiya's tears, Lu Shuang's heart also ached. He had known Baiya for so many years. He had never seen Baiya cry so sadly. Baiya, I can see that he likes you. He came to me on his own initiative. I know how much he cares about you. Why are you so heartless? Lu Shuang asked confusedly. Baiya cried quietly. Why don't I call him back and tell him? Lu Shuang's voice was also choked. He passed the tissue to Baiya. Baiya blew her nose and looked at Lu Shuang. Her eyes gradually became clear. Listen, never let Gu Lingqing know the truth. Otherwise, my efforts today will be in vain. If you tell Gu Lingqing, you won't be my friend anymore. I don't understand. Isn't it good to let him solve your problem? It's better than being alone and helpless. Lu Shuang felt sorry for Baiya. What if I can't solve it? What do you think I can give him? He was a soldier with a bright future. He might even become a national leader in the future. Being with me would only be a stain on his political career. I didn't want to wait for him to blame me 10 years later. I didn't want him to leave me completely. Life is good for everyone, Baiya said rationally. Maybe he can solve it. I can't gamble with his future. Baiya paused. Her eyelashes trembled and she added, because I like him. She cried again when she said the last sentence. She had been struggling, rejecting, and pushing him away because she didn't understand her own thoughts. She wanted to start, but she was afraid to start. She didn't see her heart clearly until they were about to separate. She liked him. However, she could only be submerged in the dust of time. Baiya's phone rang. She saw that it was Su Jiran's number. She frowned and answered it. Are you ready? Su Jiran asked hurriedly. I'll come out later. Baiya hung up the phone, wiped her tears, and went back to the topic. I asked for leave today, but I have a pregnant woman who will have an operation in the morning. Please take my place. No problem. Lu Shuang asked worriedly, who called? Su Jiran. I'll go to his mother's house with him later. I'll go first. Baiya lowered her head and turned to leave. Lu Shuang looked at Baiya's frail back and felt very sad. She should have done something. She shouldn't have waited for death. Lu Shuang walked out of the hospital and saw Su Jiran's car. He leaned against the car door with a cigarette between his slender fingers. The smoke obscured his face, making it hard to see what he was thinking. Baiya walked up to him. Su Jiran narrowed his eyes. Why are you crying? Does it have anything to do with you? Baiya said coldly. She opened the back door, sat in the seat, closed her eyes, and pretended to sleep. Su Jiran got in the car and looked at Baiya in the rearview mirror. He felt suffocated. You won't visit your mother-in-law with this face, will you? You don't have to take me there. Baiya didn't even open her eyes. Do you know what it means if I take you there? Su Jiran was a little annoyed. No matter what it means, it doesn't mean much to me. Bai Yi said indifferently. Su Jiran stopped the car and turned to look at her. Are you going to treat me with this attitude for the rest of your life? Bai Yi opened her eyes and looked at him coldly. It's too long to waste my life on people like you. He threw the jewelry box on her and ordered, put it on. Bai Yi looked at the murderous look in his eyes and opened the box. There was an emerald bracelet inside. This bracelet is worth 5 million. You won't be able to earn this much money in your whole life as a doctor. Now I'm giving it to you. Su Jiran said arrogantly. I'm sorry, but the hospital doesn't allow me to wear bracelets. Bai Yi didn't want it at all. She closed the jewelry box and threw it to the side. Her action angered him. Su Jiran got out of the car and opened the back door. He opened the jewelry box and took out the jade bracelet. He held Bai Yi's hands tightly and put the bracelet on. The size of the jade bracelet was very small. It was not her size at all. It was very painful when she put it on, and the skin on the back of her hands was scratched. Su Jiran was really powerful. Bai Yi tried to pull it off, but she couldn't. She was also angry and threw it at the car window. Su Jiran held her wrist. Go ahead and throw it. 5 million. Don't leave me a single cent. I want you to work for me for the rest of your life. Bai Yi pursed her lips. She was so angry that her hands were trembling. Su Jiran slammed the door and got into the driver's seat. He accelerated the car to 180 km per hour and sped on the road. Bai Yi clenched her fists so tightly that her nails were digging into her palms. Su Jiran saw that Bai Yi didn't say anything, so he said, My mother was born in a scholarly family. She likes girls who are well-educated and obedient. You will be with your mother-in-law for the rest of your life. Put away your pride, it will be good for you. I've been married for 3 years, and this is the first time I see my mother-in-law. I'm really a special daughter-in-law. Bai Yi laughed at herself. So you should know what today means. I'm starting to acknowledge your identity, Bai Yi. Su Jiran said arrogantly. Bai Yi looked at his devilishly charming face coldly. He admitted that she didn't care at all. Let me remind you, Gu Lingqing's mother lives in the same villa area as my mother. I'll pretend that I don't know about your past with Gu Lingqing. Don't bring it up again. Otherwise, it will only make things awkward for both of us, Su Jiran said meaningfully. There was a flash of light in his dark eyes. Bai Yi looked down. Gu Lingqing's face flashed in her mind. He would live well without her. Chapter 66. Su Jiran brought Bai Yi to the place where Su Jiran's mother lived. Remember to greet her. Su Jiran reminded her. He unbuckled his seatbelt and got out of the car. He took out the lilies and a fruit basket from the trunk. He handed the lilies to Bai Yi. My mom likes this kind of flower. She likes to eat bland food and likes a well-behaved daughter-in-law. Bai Yi did not take it. She turned her face away. I'm really sorry. I was born to be well-behaved. A sharp light flashed across Su Jiran's eyes. He warned her arrogantly, Bai Yi, don't forget that I can send you and your good friend to hell at any time. Bai Yi's lips twitched. She took the flowers from Su Jiran's hand. Other than threatening and despicable, what else do you have? Su Jiran saw the disdain in her eyes. He held her chin. You just have to remember that those who obey me will prosper, and those who oppose me will perish. Bai Yi looked down and sneered. Su Jiran pulled Bai Yi into the house. Young master is back. The housekeeper quickly took a pair of slippers from the shoe rack and placed them in front of Su Jiran. She then took a pair of disposable slippers from the bottom of the shoe rack and placed them in front of Baya. "Mom!" Su Jiran called out. He passed the flowers and the fruit basket to the housekeeper. He gripped Baya's arm tightly as if he was going to break it. With a warning tone, he lowered his voice and said, "Greet her." Baya looked at the dignified woman on the sofa. Xiongdani was flipping through a book elegantly. Because she had taken good care of herself, she looked like she was in her 40s. She had a good temperament and self-restraint. "Mom!" Baya called out. Xiongdani glanced at Baya and placed the book on the coffee table. "Didn't I tell you not to bring her to see me?" Su Jiran walked over and sat beside Xiongdani. He put his arm around Xiongdani's thin shoulders and said, "An ugly daughter-in-law has to meet her parents-in-law eventually. I'm afraid that if I have too many daughters-in-law, I might not be able to recognize faces." Xiongdani said coldly. She looked at Baya's wrist and frowned. "Is that bracelet the one I like?" I let her try it on. She bought it just to show her respect to you. Su Jiran said and looked at Baya. "Xiaoya, give the bracelet to Mom. She can feel your sincerity." "That's enough. That bracelet is worth more than 5 million. How could a doctor have so much money? Do you think I don't know who bought it? Use soap in the bathroom. Don't ruin my jade bracelet," Xiongdani said arrogantly. Baya found it funny and laughed. She didn't even try to hide the disdain in her eyes. She walked into the bathroom. Xiongdani gave the housekeeper a look and the housekeeper followed her in immediately. "Young madam, this is for you." The housekeeper passed the hand sanitizer to Baya. Baya squeezed out the sanitizer and applied it on her hands. The housekeeper picked up a towel and wiped the bottle of sanitizer. Baya frowned and looked at her. "What do you mean?" "I'm sorry. Madam is a neat freak," the housekeeper explained awkwardly. How could someone who loves cleanliness give birth to Su Jiran? How ironic. Baya took off the bracelet and placed it on the sink. The housekeeper cleaned it immediately. Baya walked out of the bathroom. "Is that kind of woman good enough for you? I wouldn't even want Xing Jinyan to see me, let alone Xing Bachuan's daughter," Xiongdani scolded. Yes. Mom is right. I've already married her. She can't become a wife just because of her husband." Su Jiran coaxed Xiongdani with a smile. "What kind of taste do you have? She's an obstetrician. She's always breaking her abdomen. Who knows how much blood her hands are stained with? It's disgusting to think about it." "I've spoiled you too much," Xiongdani said in disgust. She looked at Baya and said, "When are you leaving? I'm afraid it'll get dirty here." "What if you're hungry?" "You can disinfect it if it gets dirty," Su Jiran said to Xiongdani. "Madam." The housekeeper came out with the jade bracelet. "Put it in the UV box and bring it to me tomorrow," Xiongdani ordered. Baya smiled. Su Jiran and his mother were birds of a feather. They were both weirdos. Did he think she was dirty? Baya walked toward Su Jiran with a cold glint in her eyes and held Su Jiran's hand. Her hands were dirty. If she could, why didn't she disinfect Su Jiran too? Xiongdani took a wet towel from the coffee table and handed it to Su Jiran. She said to Baya, "Since you've married into our family, you have to follow our rules." Su Jiran took the wet towel from Xiongdani and wiped his hands cooperatively. "What rules?" Baya asked, her fingers tracing the shape of Su Jiran's face. Su Jiran realized Baya's intention and held Baya's hand. "Stop it." Xiongdani was even more disgusted with Baya. She ordered, "First, quit your current job. As the daughter-in-law of the Su family, you don't have to show your face in public. You won't be able to earn back a jade bracelet in your lifetime. Second, you can't be jealous. It's inevitable for your husband to socialize outside. You have to be patient. It's normal for you to play along. Third, you'll inevitably go out to socialize. If you lose your etiquette, you'll lose the face of the Sue family. From now on, I'll hire a teacher to teach you. Fourth, I'm afraid of getting dirty. You have to be clean. I'll arrange the rest for you. You have to memorize it. Don't make any mistakes. Do you understand? I'm sorry, I can't do that. A mother-in-law like you can marry anyone who wants it. Baiya stood up. What do you mean? Xiongdani widened her eyes and looked at Baiya in disbelief. I mean exactly what I said. Baiya walked towards the door. Stop right there, Jiran. What kind of person did you find? Xiongdani said angrily. Su Jiran didn't expect Baiya to be so angry. He grabbed Baiya's arm and ordered, apologize to Mom. I didn't do anything wrong. Why should I apologize? Baiya's face was cold. She wanted to pull her hand out. Su Jiran held it so tightly that she couldn't pull her hand out. I brought you here so that my mother will acknowledge you, not so that you can anger my mother. When I say apologize, I'll count to 3 and you can disobey me as much as you want. Su Jiran said sternly. His eyes were as sharp as a knife. Baiya's chest heaved violently. She glared at Su Jiran and pursed her lips. The atmosphere was terrifyingly tense. If there was nothing left in this world, only despair and a hellish life, she might as well just die. If she died, it would be useless even if Su Jiran had something on Lu Shuang. He didn't have to go against Lu Shuang and offend Her Highness. Auntie, my dad asked me to invite you to my house for dinner. Su Shaoling walked in. She froze when she saw Baiya. She asked defensively, why are you here? Baiya also looked at Su Shaoling in surprise. Chapter 67. 3 years ago, she forced Su Jiran to marry her. The church was bustling with noise and excitement, but none of the people who came were their relatives. Su Jiran had spent 50 yuan to invite each of them to sit down. She had never met Su Jiran's relatives. She knew nothing about Su Jiran. It turned out that Su Jiran and Su Shaoling were cousins. He and Su Changhao were also cousins. Su Changhao was Gu Lingqing's good friend. Their families all lived in the same villa area. What kind of fate was this? She was just a commoner. She shouldn't be mingling with the children of high-ranking officials. With Su Shaoling as a buffer, Su Jiran hugged Baiya's shoulder tightly and smiled wickedly. Aren't you going to call me sister-in-law? Sister-in-law. Su Shaoling was even more shocked. Cousin, when did you get married? She. Su Shaoling pointed at Baiya. She wanted to say something but stopped. If Baiya was Su Jiran's wife, then Baiya and Gu Lingqing were nothing. As expected, Gu Lingqing was acting with other women in front of her. Thinking of this, Su Shaoling was in a good mood. She's a good match for you. My boyfriend is coming to my house for dinner today. His family is coming too. You, sister-in-law, and aunt should come too. We'll be relatives in the future. Boyfriend? Gu Lingqing. Su Jiran asked with a smile. Cousin, you know that I only like him. Now that the clouds have parted and the moon has come to light, he has accepted me. Su Shaoling deliberately said in front of Baiya. Baiya lowered her eyes. Her long eyelashes covered the emotions in her eyes. She thought that she wouldn't be sad. After all, she was the one who pushed Gu Lingqing away. But when she heard that he had accepted Su Xiaoling and was going to Su Xiaoling's house for dinner and to meet his parents, her heart still hurt. That kind of pain was unexpected. He wanted to pretend that he didn't care about it, but he couldn't deceive his own heart. Okay, let's go together. It's time for everyone to meet. It seems like many things have deviated from their tracks. It's time to return, right, my wife? Su Jiran said as he stared at Baiya meaningfully. Baiya looked away. I don't want to go. Su Jiran's eyes flashed with malice. It's not up to you. There are some people you can't covet, I warned you. What does that mean? Who else does she covet? Was she unfaithful to her marriage? I will never let such a woman become my daughter-in-law. Xiong Dani said keenly. Of course not. She wouldn't dare. Su Jiran smiled confidently and looked at Baiya. Right, Xiaoya. Baiya clenched her fists and looked at Su Jiran. He was like a real venomous beast, pressuring her until she couldn't breathe. She went to meet Gu Lingqing's parents. Even if she and Su Jiran divorced, it would never be possible for her and Gu Lingqing to be together again. Gu Lingqing's parents wouldn't agree. But she had no choice but to bite the bullet and go. Jiran, are you sure you want to bring her? I can't afford to lose face. Xiong Dani reminded him unhappily. She has to meet them eventually. Let's go. Su Jiran hugged Baiya's waist. Baiya pulled his hand away and said sarcastically, aren't you a neat freak? Be careful not to dirty your hands. It's already dirty anyway. It doesn't matter, Su Jiran replied. He hugged her even tighter and pulled her into his arms. Baiya's face was pale. When she pushed Gu Lingqing away, she said how loving she was with her husband. Su Jiran was willing to cooperate, so she couldn't turn her back on him. Su Xiaoling observed Su Jiran and Baiya. Since Baiya was a married woman, she didn't feel so repulsed anymore. Su Jiran had never failed in wooing a woman. He was the kind of man who was bad and liked by women. It's just 100 meters ahead. It's not too far. Baiya, let's go shopping when we have the chance, Su Xiaoling said to Baiya. Her eyes were meaningful and proud. Baiya didn't respond. Didn't you hear Ling talking to you? What kind of parenting is that? Xiong Dani lectured unhappily. Baiya clenched her teeth. Su Jiran pinched her waist. Baiya glared at Su Jiran. Mom is talking to you. Respond if you hear me, Su Jiran threatened with a smile. Baiya still didn't say anything. Anger and frustration gathered in her heart. It expanded and was about to explode. The four of them entered Su Xiaoling's house. Su Changhao was surprised to see Baiya. Brother, let me introduce you. She's my cousin's wife. They're married, Su Xiaoling said happily. You're married? Just now. Su Changhao asked Baiya in surprise. We've been married for 3 years. It was a secret marriage before, but I don't think there's a need to anymore. I brought her to see my mom and came over to freeload, Su Jiran said with a smile. Su Changhao looked at Su Jiran and then at Baiya. He had a bad feeling. Take a seat. I still have some work to do, Su Changhao said. He walked into his room and called Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing picked up the call. I'm already at the villa. I'll be there soon. I'm not rushing you. There's a huge accident. Baiya is here too. She's actually Jiran's wife. Do you know about this? Su Changhao said in shock. I know. Gu Lingqing's voice was deep. So you and she were pretending. Su Changhao was confused. Gu Lingqing was silent for a while. Then, he asked, how did she and Su Jiran look? It was very strange. Su Jiran seemed to be swearing his leadership. But Bai Ye's expression was very bad. She was cold and seemed to reject Jiran's intimacy. What's going on with you guys? You promised to come to my house for dinner. Could it be related to Bai Ye? The more Su Changhao thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. Don't worry about it. That's it. I'm hanging up. Gu Lingqing hung up the phone coolly. There was a deep and sharp light in his eyes. In the living room. Speaking of my son-in-law, he's really a dragon among men. He's already a major general at such a young age. Now, he's even the chief of the special forces. He's directly under the management of the military committee. His father is now the deputy commander. His mother manages a company. I heard that his family's company is on the list of the world's richest people. This child was also very handsome and had a striking appearance. Luckily, Ling and he are childhood friends. Otherwise, my Ling wouldn't even have a chance. Su Xiaoling's mother held Xiong Dani's hand and said, "Then I'm lucky this time." "I can see this handsome chief," Xiong Dani said with a smile. "Oh, right. What's wrong with your daughter-in-law? What does she do? When did she get married? You didn't even tell us." Su Xiaoling's mother hit Xiong Dani and said, "She's a doctor. Jiran got married 3 years ago. I didn't even know. Otherwise, why would I have agreed to it? This girl's hands are dirty. Jiran bought me a 5 million yuan jade bracelet and she secretly wore it. Don't you think it's disgusting?" Xiong Dani looked at Bai Ye with disdain. Her voice wasn't low. Probably everyone could hear her. Gu Lingqing, who just came in, heard it too. Chapter 68. Bai Ye felt embarrassed, especially when Gu Lingqing heard it. But thinking about it, so what if he heard it? She didn't have a good impression of him at all. When Gu Lingqing and the others came in, everyone in the Su family stood up and went to welcome them. Su Jiran sat on the sofa arrogantly and looked at Gu Lingqing coldly. He curled up the corner of his mouth and looked lazy. "I've invited you several times and I finally got my wish today. Come and sit down." Su Xiaoling's father, Su Zheng, held Gu Tianhong's hand and said warmly, "I've been busy before. Now that I have some free time today, I came here immediately," Gu Tianhong said with a smile. "What an honor." Su Zheng led the way. The group of people began to sit down. The women nodded at each other as a greeting. A big round table. From the main seat to the right, they were Su Zheng, Gu Tianhong, Gu Lingqing's mother, Gu Lingqing, Su Xiaoling, Su Jiran's mother, Bai Ye, Su Jiran, Su Changhao, Su Xiaoling's mother. There were 10 people in total. After sitting down, Gu Tianhong saw Bai Ye. He had seen Bai Ye in Gu Lingqing's military area before. He was surprised and said, "You are." Su Jiran put his hand on Bai Ye's shoulder and introduced her with a smile, "My wife." "Oh." Gu Tianhong smiled and said meaningfully, "Very good, very good." Gu Lingqing's cold eyes glanced at Bai Ye's face. Bai Ye lowered her eyes and didn't look at anyone. She didn't want anyone to see the expression in her eyes. "Uncle, what about the recruitment of doctors in the special military area?" "I've been waiting for a long time," Su Xiaoling said in a sweet voice and held Gu Lingqing's arm. Bai Ye's eyes flickered and looked at Su Xiaoling holding Gu Lingqing's arm. Gu Lingqing did not refuse. Bai Ye swallowed his bitterness. Su Xiaoling's family hired a professional chef, and the chef's assistant poured brandy for everyone. "About this matter, it's not up to me. It's up to Lingqing. He's the leader of the special forces. Even I can't order him," Gu Tianhang joked. Lingqing, shouldn't you hurry up and settle this matter? You'll be able to spend time with Xiao Ling in the future. That lass has been nagging me about this matter every day. Gu Lingqing's mother said with a smile. Bai Yi subconsciously glanced at Gu Lingqing's mother. Gu Lingqing's mother was very beautiful, noble, and elegant. Her hair was coiled up on her head, and she had the capability and decisiveness of a strong woman. Her eyes revealed the acuteness and wisdom that could see through the world. In terms of appearance, Gu Lingqing mostly resembled her mother. Gu Lingqing replied with a deep voice and took a sip of brandy. There was not much of a reaction on her face. Before you guys came, my sister-in-law told me that Ling Er's boyfriend was so outstanding that he could only exist in the heavens. Now that I look at him, he is indeed extraordinary. Here's to you. Xiong Daini raised her glass to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing also raised her glass, and she looked at Bai Yi from the corner of her eyes. Bai Yi still had her head down, and Su Jiran picked a piece of beef fillet for her. Look at how you're praising him. Is he your son? Gu Lingqing's mother looked at Su Jiran. Jiran, he's the deputy director of the health bureau now. He's a little naughty, Xiong Daini said proudly. The younger generation will surpass us in time. He's so accomplished at such a young age, Gu Lingqing's mother praised. He's still working hard, auntie. Here's to you. Su Jiran smiled devilishly. He raised his glass and took a big gulp. This child is so charming. You're so lucky. I can tell that you have a deep relationship with your son. Gu Lingqing's mother also took a sip and frowned. Old Su, the alcohol content is quite high. Aren't you afraid that I'll get drunk and go crazy in your house? Why should I be afraid if you go crazy? Your old Gu is still around. He's still young, and he can still deal with you, Su Jing joked. It's not that I can't deal with him, but I don't dare to. If Chief Song goes crazy, I'll be in trouble. Gu Tianhang smiled gently and looked at Gu Lingqing's mother, Song Shiyu. Hey, hey, hey. The two of you are showing off your love. Aren't you ashamed? Come, let's drink, Su Xiaoling's mother said and picked up her glass. Bai Yi followed everyone and took a sip. She did not know the brand of the brandy, but it was very spicy. She did not like it. Everyone chimed in, chatting happily. On the other hand, she did not say a word. It was as if she did not fit in with the lively banquet. After a few sips, she was a little tipsy. She looked at Gu Lingqing and happened to meet his gaze. Then, she looked away. Su Jiran suddenly lowered his head and kissed her on the forehead. Su Jiran drank a lot. The strong smell of alcohol rushed to the tip of her nose. Bai Yi was stunned. She did not like him to have physical contact with her, but under such circumstances, she could not act up. Su Jiran smiled and looked at her confidently. There was a hint of intoxication in his eyes. He lifted her chin and slowly moved his lips to hers. His action attracted the attention of the others at the table. Bai Yi clenched her fists. Should she dodge or take it? Her mind was in a mess. She could not make up her mind. You two are quite affectionate, Su Changhao said and interrupted Su Jiran's kiss. No matter how good other women are, they are not as good as my wife. Other women belong to others, but only my wife belongs to me. Su Jiran raised his glass and clinked with Su Changhao's. He drank the wine in one gulp. Su Xiaoling smiled. Her cousin was really good at wooing women. She looked at Gu Lingqing. Lingqing, come to my room. I have something for you. Gu Lingqing's jaw tightened. His face was livid and his deep eyes hid his anger. He stood up and left with Su Xiaoling. My girl is so shameless. They are not married yet and she brought him to the room, Su Xiaoling's mother said helplessly. So what? They are going to get married sooner or later. It doesn't matter if they do it earlier or later. Moreover, Lingqing is not young anymore. He is a hot-blooded young man. He will always have needs, Su Jing said indulgently. Bai Ye's heart tightened. It was as if something was gripping her heart. A wave of sourness flowed out from her heart and reached the blood. She took a sip of wine and numbed her mind with a more bitter and spicy taste. All right, since old Su has said so, I can't go back on my word. Why don't we set the wedding date? Gu Tianhang said. Bai Ye felt her head was heavy and her appetite was churning. She covered her mouth and said, "Excuse me." Chapter 69. She knew that she was sad. She started to feel sad when she saw Gu Lingqing appear in Su Xiaoling's house. In fact, even if it wasn't Su Xiaoling, there would still be other women who deserved him. He would never be hers, so why should she feel sad? Bai Ye took a deep breath and splashed cold water on her face to make herself more rational. The door was suddenly pushed open. Bai Ye saw that it was Gu Lingqing. Her heart tightened. She nodded and said softly, "I'm fine now. I'll let you in." Gu Lingqing stared at her and locked the door. Bai Ye looked at him in confusion and met his deep eyes. His eyes seemed to contain the universe, and she couldn't see it clearly at all. "Why are you crying?" Gu Lingqing asked. Bai Ye turned her face away guiltily. "I'm not crying. I drank too much and I want to throw up." Gu Lingqing walked towards her. He was approaching. Bai Ye stepped back subconsciously. Gu Lingqing came to her, lifted her chin and looked at her coldly. "I don't believe you. I don't need you to believe me." Bai Ye pushed him away and walked towards the door in a panic. Gu Lingqing was annoyed. She didn't avoid Su Jiran's kiss, so he felt that he had lost his mind. He grasped her arm, pulled her to his side, leaned down, and kissed her on the lips. Bai Ye was so scared that she pushed his chest desperately. This was Su Xiaoling's house. He was crazy. They were still outside. Perhaps someone had seen him enter the bathroom. However, the more she struggled, the stronger Gu Lingqing became. He pressed the back of her head and put his fingers in her hair, not letting her have the possibility to retreat. They both drank a lot, and the smell of alcohol lingered in each other's noses. Bai Ye was almost out of breath because of his kiss, but he didn't let her go. She felt the oxygen disappearing bit by bit. She had no strength at all. The hand that was originally pushing him away instinctively held onto his arm to support her body. Only then did he release her, panting. His chest was heaving up and down as he stared at her. "Let go of me. I'm going out." "My husband is still outside," Bai Ye said worriedly. The word husband stimulated all of his nerves. Gu Lingqing picked her up and put her on the sink. The coldness of the pool made her shiver. "Gu Lingqing, what are you doing?" Bai Ye wanted to get down. He held her back with one hand and kissed her lips, while his other hand slipped under her skirt. Bai Ye widened her watery eyes, tears glistening in her eyes. She knew what he wanted and stiffened her body, refusing. But how could she be his opponent? When his fingers broke through the last barrier, Bai Ye was so ashamed that she wanted to bite him. Instead, he let go of her lips. There was no desire in his eyes as he looked at her angrily. "Reject me again, or louder. If someone barges in, I can't do anything about it." Bai Ye pushed his arm. "Don't be like this, don't be like this." He didn't move an inch. "Don't be like this." "It's not like we haven't done this before. Is there a difference if we do it once or twice? You saw it too. It's impossible for us to be together. They are already discussing your marriage with Su Shaoling. Do you want us to make mistakes after we get married? Baiya wasn't calm. He let go of her, unzipped his pants and stood in front of her. Don't worry, I will never marry Su Shaoling. I will only marry you. Baiya paused for a moment, her heart trembling violently. He had already entered. She almost cried out, but he kissed her lips, silencing her voice. Baiya furrowed her brows in frustration. Only then did he let go of her lips, his eyes burning as he looked at every expression on her face. Baiya bit her lips. She couldn't push him away, she couldn't escape, she couldn't hide. What should she do? She felt wronged and sad. Tears flowed from the corner of her eyes. Gu Lingqing saw her crying and his heart softened. I know you must have something. You didn't tell me because you were afraid of implicating me. You don't have to tell me, I will investigate it myself. Don't worry, I will definitely help you solve it. Baiya was touched. She was so touched that she couldn't put it into words. She could only suppress it. I'm fine. I won't let you off even if you're fine. You are my first woman. You don't have to be responsible for me, but you have to be responsible for me. If you don't take responsibility, I won't let you off, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Baiya couldn't think anymore. She pursed her lips and gradually lost herself in the dream he had created. There was a knock on the door. She got nervous and Gu Lingqing was quite satisfied with her reaction. He pulled her in front of him and leaned on her tightly. Xiaoya, what are you doing inside? You've been in there for a long time, Su Jiran asked suspiciously. Gu Lingqing thought about it and didn't want to push it away. Su Jiran knocked on the door more urgently. I'll be out in a while, Baiya replied angrily. Open the door, Su Jiran ordered. Are you done? Baiya urged and pushed Gu Lingqing's shoulders. Kiss me, Gu Lingqing ordered. Su Jiran knocked on the door again. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing and didn't have any intention of stopping. She had no choice but to hug the back of Gu Lingqing's neck and kiss his lips. Gu Lingqing picked her up and pushed her against the door. Baiya wanted to cry but had no tears. Shaoling, do you have the key to this washroom? Su Jiran kissed Su Shaoling. Yes, I'll get it for you, Su Shaoling said confusedly. Oh yeah, did you see Gu Lingqing? Su Jiran's eyes shot out a sharp light. He glanced at the washroom door and his face turned pale. I didn't see him. Give me the key, Su Jiran said coldly. Baiya was so nervous that her heart was about to jump out. Gu Lingqing also kissed her fiercely in the end. The door was opened. Su Jiran glanced at the washroom. There was no one. Baiya. What? My stomach hurts. Baiya lowered her head and her face was as red as blood. Su Jiran knocked on the door of the washroom. Open it. Wait. Baiya took a deep breath, then another deep breath. She pressed on the toilet and opened the door. Su Jiran glanced inside. There was only Baiya. He glanced at Baiya's face. Why is your face so red? It's like this when I drink. My head hurts a little. I want to go back to sleep, Baiya said guiltily. She remembered that when she caught Su Jiran with another woman, he could talk and laugh as if nothing had happened. Why couldn't she? She hadn't been caught yet and she felt so guilty that she was about to die. Why was there such a big difference in the endurance of people? Su Jiran opened the washroom window and looked outside. Outside the window was the back garden. Chapter 70. Baya wasn't good at lying. She licked her lips to cover up her panic. She answered ambiguously, didn't everyone see it today? Really? Su Jiran stared at her coldly. His eyes were as sharp as a knife, as if he had seen through her lies. Baya looked at Su Jiran in confusion. He was with another woman, and even did that kind of thing in front of her. Why didn't he find out that he was wrong at that time? At that time, she might have felt the same as him now. Angry, desperate, crazy, collapsed, and began to doubt life. Baya calmed down. What do you want to prove? I don't want to prove anything. I think you've heard that Gu Lingqing and Su Shaoling are about to get married. His parents like Su Shaoling very much, and they won't accept other women. The Su family won't let you go. Don't humiliate yourself. Don't even have some thoughts. Otherwise, I can guarantee that your life will be several times more painful than it is now. Do you hear me? Su Jiran ordered. Baya's eyes dimmed. In fact, she understood in her heart. She didn't dare to think about her and Gu Lingqing at all. Just now, it wasn't what she was willing to do. However, listening to Gu Lingqing's confession, she was moved. She was moved for a moment. After all, being moved for a moment was like living for a lifetime. I know. Baya walked to the sink, turned on the tap, and washed her face. When she walked out of the bathroom, Gu Lingqing was already sitting on the sofa, talking to Su Changhao. He looked at her with deep eyes. Baya didn't dare to look at him, so she turned her face away. Uncle Su, Uncle Gu, Xiaoya is not feeling well. We'll go back first. Su Jiran smiled and greeted them. He seemed to be well-mannered. Did you drink too much? Go back and rest, Su Xiaoling's mother said lovingly. Baya nodded to Su Xiaoling's mother and left the room. Gu Lingqing watched as Baya walked away. Su Changhao patted Gu Lingqing's thigh to make Gu Lingqing come back to his senses. He lowered his voice and asked, "What's going on between you and Baya?" "She's my cousin's woman. I heard they've been married for 3 years. She is my woman," Gu Lingqing said with certainty. Su Changhao was shocked by Gu Lingqing. "You like her? She's a married woman. Are you crazy? Don't you want your future? You are most likely to become the president." Su Changhao was worried. "She will divorce soon." "I know what I'm doing," Gu Lingqing said confidently. "What do you know?" "My cousin isn't someone to be trifled with. His mother is actually very close to the president. His career is also very bright. His methods are not what you think. You can provoke anyone but my cousin's woman." Su Changhao disagreed. "Do you remember I told you that I was injected with a drug during a mission 3 years ago and hurt a woman?" Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Su Changhao paused and guessed, "That woman is Baya." Gu Lingqing nodded. "I ruined her life. I have to be responsible for her. Think carefully. You might not love her. It's because you feel guilty and sorry for her for a long time. You just want to make it up to her. Her character is completely different from Hailan. I don't believe you're in love with her." "I know what I feel for her," Gu Lingqing said with certainty. "Brother, what are you talking about?" Su Shaoling sat next to Gu Lingqing. Su Changhao smiled and said to Su Shaoling, "What I'm talking to him about is confidential. You better not know about this kind of thing. I'm not interested either. Lingqing, Mom and Dad discussed with Uncle and Auntie to let us get engaged in October. What do you think?" Su Shaoling asked happily. Gu Lingqing stood up and held Su Shaoling's arm. They walked to the front of the parents. Su Shaoling lowered her head sweetly. "There's something I need to tell you. I've always treated Ling as my sister. I'll take care of her like my biological sister. However, I don't have any romantic feelings for her. This is what I want to tell you today, Gu Lingqing said bluntly. The parents' faces turned ugly. Bastard, do you know what you're talking about? Gu Tianhang opened his eyes wide and said angrily. I know what I'm talking about and what I want. I know how I should get along with Ling Er. It's not a bad thing for Ling Er to have one more brother, Gu Lingqing said coldly. Having one brother is enough for me. Su Shaoling pulled her hand out. She was very irrational. Gu Lingqing didn't give her any face at all. She had no choice but to give up. Is it because of Baya? As soon as the name Baya came out, everyone was shocked. They looked at Gu Lingqing in surprise. Gu Lingqing clenched his teeth. His eyes emitted a sharp light as he glanced at Su Shaoling. It's because I don't like you, Gu Lingqing said sharply. Then swear to Mom and Dad and everyone that you don't like Baya. You won't be with Baya, Su Shaoling said aggressively. I don't need to swear to anyone. There's something going on in the army. I have to go back now. Gu Lingqing nodded at the elders and walked out of the room. Ling Er, what do you mean by that? Is Baya Jieran's wife? Su Shaoling's mother pulled Su Shaoling's hand. Su Shaoling's eyes were red. Tears flowed out of her eyes. It's that B*TCH. There was a loud bang. Gu Tianhang smashed the glass on the floor and said angrily, Impossible. I will never let that kind of woman into the house. Su Shaoling's mother looked at Su Changhao. How, you're Gu Lingqing's good friend and also Ling Er's brother. Tell me, what's going on? Su Changhao laughed dryly. Seeing everyone's murderous expression, he said, What are you guys thinking? It's impossible for Lingqing and Baya to be together. Baya is Jieran's wife. Lingqing just can't forget Zhou Hailan. He can't take it anymore because you guys are forcing him. Hailan has been dead for 5 years. Su Shaoling exposed Su Changhao's lie. Lingqing has always been sentimental. He still has his primary school books. You guys know that. Alright, my baby sister. Su Changhao put his arm around Su Shaoling's shoulder. He said earnestly, if you want Lingqing to like you, you should change your temper. You're so impulsive. How can Lingqing show his face? If I were Lingqing, I wouldn't like a woman like you either. Especially if you want to be my wife. I must find a virtuous woman. Su Changhao became the peacemaker. He saw everyone's expression soften. He sighed. Chapter 71. Baya thought about it and went back to Xiongdani. Along the way, Su Jiran kept examining her. She could feel his gaze. It was like a sharp blade cutting her body. She could only ignore it and pretend that she did not see it. Baya, did you do it with Gu Lingqing? If you did, I'm willing to let you go, Su Jiran said coldly. Baya paused. She turned her head and looked at Su Jiran confusedly. She looked at his cold face. She could not tell if what he said was true or not. If she did it, would Su Jiran take revenge on Gu Lingqing? She did not want to hurt Gu Lingqing. Su Jiran, aside from those external reasons, do you think we're still suitable to be together? You've seen how your mother views me. You're so smart. You should know that no one will be happy, Baya said coldly. Su Jiran curled his lips and walked in front of her, as if he had seen through her. Are you changing the topic? Baya raised her chin. I'm just stating the truth. The truth is that Gu Lingqing's parents will never accept you. You should give up. If I find out that you're still in a relationship with Gu Lingqing, I promise that I'll ruin his reputation. You can try to challenge me, Su Jiran threatened. If he ruins his reputation, what about you? Do you think that you can protect yourself? Do you think that the dirty things you've done will be buried in the dust of time? Bai frowned and asked. She did not hide her disgust for Su Jiran. Su Jiran curled his lips. He held Bai's waist and pulled her into his arms. He said arrogantly, "Let's try." Bai desperately tried to pull him away. She didn't like his wild aura. The more she struggled, the more sinister he became. "Bai, it's time for us to live as a married couple, right?" Bai looked at him in panic. "Su Jiran, don't go overboard. Even if we're married, I can sue you if I don't want to. I've already told you." "Am I afraid?" Su Jiran said arrogantly. He carried Bai and walked towards Xiongdani's room. Bai realized that what Su Jiran said was true. She didn't want Su Jiran to touch her. "Su Jiran, let go of me. Let go of me." She struggled desperately, but she couldn't break free at all. In a moment of desperation, he bit Su Jiran's shoulder. He bit it hard. Her mouth was full of blood, but she didn't let go. Su Jiran's face was ashen, and his eyes were filled with loneliness and murderous intent. He threw Bai on the sofa and untied his tie. Bai hurriedly ran towards the door. She had only taken a few steps when she was pulled back by Su Jiran. She scratched at Su Jiran's face like a madman. Su Jiran had completely lost his mind. His eyes were bloodshot, and he grabbed Bai's hands and tied them behind her back. Bai knew that she couldn't escape this. She was trembling in fear. "Su Jiran, don't do this. Don't touch me. I promise to stay by your side forever. Don't touch me." She screamed the last word. She looked at Su Jiran in fear and defensiveness. She felt especially helpless. Su Jiran stared at her. He leaned over and his breath approached her. He lifted her chin. "Didn't you always want me to sleep with you? That's because I still loved you." Bai choked. Su Jiran rubbed her lips with his thumb and said fiercely, "Then continue to love me." He kissed her lips forcefully. Bai pursed her lips and gritted her teeth. Su Jiran couldn't get in, so he let go of her and ordered, "Open your mouth." Bai shook her head in fear. Her eyes were red. Su Jiran was like a demon to her now. He wanted to push her to the deepest part of hell. "Then don't open your mouth. I can kiss other places." Su Jiran tore off the buttons of her clothes with brute force. He lowered his head and kissed her shoulder. No, it wasn't a kiss. It was a bite. Just like how she had bitten him just now, his sharp teeth went deep into her skin. Bai was in pain and despair. Her eyes were filled with mist, refracting light and becoming blurry. She was destined to be unfortunate from the moment she was born. Her father loathed her mother and found a woman outside. She and Xing Jinyan were born at the same time. Xing Jinyan was in the hospital with her parents. She was born on the cold ground. Only despair and sadness had saved her mother. Her mother was sent to a mental hospital because of her and could never come out. Her friend, because of her, was photographed naked. Her lover had provoked someone he shouldn't have provoked because of her. What if she died? Would all the bad things come to an end because of her death? She didn't want to have anything to do with Su Jiran even if she died. Bai closed her eyes and bit her tongue, letting the pain numb all her nerves. "What are you doing?" Xiongdani screamed. Su Jiran looked at Xiongdani and furrowed his brows. Xiongdani rushed over and slapped Bai's face indiscriminately. "You be *tch, are you so cheap? Can't you find a man? Baya felt her face burning. She couldn't argue back. No matter what she said, no one would believe her. Why should she say it out loud to embarrass herself? She didn't even want to cry. That was just a way to make her enemies happy. Divorce her immediately. This kind of woman doesn't deserve to be my daughter-in-law. Xiongdaini ordered Su Jiran. Mom, what's wrong with you? Baya and I love each other very much. Why should we divorce? Su Jiran rejected. You're still in the dark, aren't you? Xiaoling already said that Baya hooked up with Gu Lingqing. Why do you want such a fickle woman? Aren't you on good terms with Xing Jinyan? I'd rather you have Xing Jinyan than to be with her. She's a disgrace. Xiongdaini was so angry that her face turned red. Xiaoling has misunderstood. She has me. How can she be with Gu Lingqing? Mom, are you overestimating Baya or underestimating your own son? Su Jiran hugged Xiongdaini's shoulders and said. She's really not with Gu Lingqing. Of course not, Su Jiran replied with a smile. Xiongdaini looked at Baya's disheveled clothes and was instantly enraged. She slapped Baya's face again. Remember, this slap is to teach you a lesson. If you dare to mess around with the identity of Mrs. Su, this isn't a lesson. What the hell, are you so impatient? Go on. Xiongdaini found it hard to speak. She said in disdain, don't dirty my place. Baya stood up and broke free from Su Jiran's tie. She slapped Xiongdaini's face. Xiongdaini had never been slapped before. She looked at Baya in shock. This slap is for you, Baya said coldly. Chapter 72. Xiongdaini was furious. She raised her hand and slapped Baya's face. Baya grabbed Xiongdaini's wrist. You cherish your son, but don't slander other people's daughters. Have you ever stopped your son from having fun outside? Where did you get the cheek to care about other people's daughters? Jiran, why are you still standing there? Hit her. If I don't make her apologize, my surname isn't Xiong, Xiongdaini yelled. Baya looked at Su Jiran coldly and met his deep eyes. Baya, apologize, Su Jiran said in a commanding tone. Even if I apologize, I won't be doing it to you and your son. You don't deserve it, Baya said stubbornly. Divorce, we have to divorce. Baya, you be *tch. Get out of here with nothing. You don't want a single cent from Jiran's assets. Xiongdaini stomped her feet angrily. Okay, Baya agreed decisively. Su Jiran slapped Baya's face. He used a lot of force. Baya was thrown to the ground. Her head was white, and she felt dizzy as if she was seeing stars. Hot liquid flowed out of her nose. She took half a minute to regain her senses. For a moment, she thought she was going to faint. She didn't want to faint in Su Jiran's house. She looked at Su Jiran with a cold and empty gaze. If I don't teach you a lesson, do you really think I'll let you do whatever you want? Su Jiran said angrily. Jiran, you did a good job. A woman like her should suffer a little. Otherwise, she wouldn't have closed her legs. B***tch, Xiong Dailin scolded. Shouldn't you apologize now? Su Jiran warned fiercely. Baya stood up and straightened his back. You can beat me to death, but don't expect me to beg for mercy from you people. Don't you miss your friends? Su Jiran asked in a sinister tone. Baya paused. Yes, she still had friends. She couldn't drag them down because of her. Baya smiled, defeated like a pear blossom. What he was suffering now was because his brain was filled with water back then. She shouldn't have provoked a demon like Soo-jiron. I'm sorry. Bayo looked down and said coldly. Get lost. Don't ever come to my place again, bitch. Seong-dae roared. Bayo walked out without looking back. When Soo-jiron saw her walk past him, he felt as though his heart was pinched by a bee. It hurt, ached, and was a little panicked. Jiron, you can't have a woman like her. Hurry up and get a divorce. Because of her, I won't object to you marrying Xing Jinyan. It's better than her, Seong-dae said in frustration. Mom, Xiaoya is a good person. She's just a little stubborn. Most of the time, she's quite sensible. Give her a chance to get to know her better. Soo-jiron looked out of the house. Bayo was leaving. He wanted to leave too. What's so good about it? She slapped me twice. My face is still red. Didn't you see? She slapped me twice. I can't let her off so easily. Divorce, we must get a divorce, Seong-dae said domineeringly. Didn't you slap her twice too? Soo-jiron coaxed Seong-dae gently. I'm an elder. It's my duty to beat her to death. Yes, you're right. I helped you slap her too. She even had a nosebleed. Calm down, Mom. Worst comes to worst, I'll beat her again when I get home. I'll beat her until she can't get out of bed. Is that okay? Soo-jiron said with a smile. I really don't know why you don't want to get a divorce. Seong-dae was confused. I'm the deputy director of the health bureau now. If I get a divorce, won't it affect my future? Don't worry. First of all, you're married in secret. Secondly, even if you get a divorce, I can say a few words in front of the president. He won't refuse to promote you. He'll put you in an important position in the future. Seong-dae sighed. I'll see to it. Okay, Mom. Don't be angry. I'll put some on your face. Otherwise, it'll hurt your beautiful face. Soo-jiron let go of Seong-dae and walked to the fridge. Rumble, there was thunder outside. The sky suddenly became gloomy. Soo-jiron looked out of the window worriedly. It was difficult to get a taxi here, let alone a bus. Bayo shouldn't have gone far. Mom, it's going to rain. I should go back, Soo-jiron said. No. Let that bitch suffer a little. She won't disobey me in the future. Put some on my face. Hurry up. Seong-dae said overbearingly. Soo-jiron looked out of the window. His eyes were fierce. He didn't go out. He took some ice cubes out of the fridge. Bayo was walking on the road. Raindrops dripped on her nose. She looked up at the sky. It was dark, as if a storm was coming. Compared with the devil Soo-jiron, a little rain was nothing. She called a taxi, but the nearest one would arrive in half an hour. They were afraid of being stood up and didn't want to come. She could only walk forward. In less than 2 minutes, the rain poured down and hit her thin body. Soon, she was drenched. She wanted to find a place to hide from the rain, but the storm didn't look like it would stop anytime soon. She could only walk on the road and try her luck to see if anyone was willing to give her a ride. A car stopped beside her. Gu Lingqing rolled down the window. Get in. Bayo saw that it was Gu Lingqing. She didn't want to get in. No need. Gu Lingqing took off his suit and opened the car door to get out. She knew that she couldn't fight him. She didn't want him to get wet, so she opened the car door and got in. Gu Lingqing saw her face. A sharp light flashed in his eyes. He pinched her chin and pushed her over. Her face was red and swollen. Her fingers were intertwined. He gritted his teeth. He felt heartache and anger. Who hit you? Soo-jiran, you lied to me that you were in love with each other. She saw concern in his eyes. Her eyes were wet. She was too tired now. She didn't want to fight with her heart, so she didn't say anything. Gu Lingqing passed the suit to her. Put it on. Don't catch a cold. Baiyu put on his suit. His clothes still carried his body heat, and it was very warm. She gathered her clothes and leaned back in her chair to look at him. You still don't want to tell me why you compromised with Soo-jiran? Or do you really want me to go crazy? Gu Lingqing looked at her domineeringly. Baiyu was touched. The redness in her eyes deepened. She said softly, Gu Lingqing, if I hadn't met you, I would have lost all hope. Gu Lingqing could hear the compromise in her tone. He turned his face away and held her cold hand. Leave everything to me. I'll handle it properly. Tears flowed from her eyes. They passed through her lips. They were salty. She looked out of the window. She could destroy herself. She liked him and didn't want to bring him along. Gu Lingqing, how long have we known each other? Baiyu asked calmly. I've asked this question before. Let's change it, Gu Lingqing said. Chapter 73. She really liked Gu Lingqing. She liked him when he was gentle. She liked him when he was domineering. She quite liked it when he was being unreasonable. That was why she was willing to give it to him, but she didn't want Soo-jiran to touch it. What are you laughing at? Gu Lingqing asked. I, Baiyu, don't deserve to be liked by you. I think I'm quite lucky. Baiyu took a deep breath and adjusted his emotions. Gu Lingqing didn't say anything. He just looked at the car in front of him. The heavy rain pitter-pattered on the car, which made him very annoyed. Baiyu looked at Gu Lingqing, and his eyes softened. Gu Lingqing, actually, I'm satisfied with this. Gu Lingqing suddenly braked, looked at Baiyu, and said coldly, I don't feel satisfied. What should I do? You can't see a person clearly in a month. Some people can't be seen clearly even after a year, 3 years, or even 10 years. I think I'm not the person you've been looking for, Baiyu said rationally. Whether you're the person I've been waiting for, I know it myself. Baiyu, I won't allow you to back off. Gu Lingqing held her arm tightly and looked at her with burning eyes. But I know clearly that you're not the person I've been waiting for. The more I get to know you, the more I feel that you're not suitable. Love is not a one-way choice. As long as one party disagrees, it won't be balanced. Baiyu looked straight at him and didn't back off. So, you don't like me, right? Gu Lingqing asked coldly. Baiyu swallowed bitterly. I don't like you. What do you mean by you don't like me? Gu Lingqing's tone became colder. Because I know you want me. You've helped me a lot, and I can't repay you. So you're repaying me. Gu Lingqing shook off her hand. Baiyu clenched her fists and lowered her eyes. Her long eyelashes covered the ripples in her eyes as she admitted, yes. Gu Lingqing punched the steering wheel. The car honked shrilly. Gu Lingqing's chest heaved violently. He was silent for a minute. Baiyu was also silent. She was so silent that the temperature of her body had completely receded. She felt waves of coldness invading her heart. After a long time, Gu Lingqing squinted at him. Her secretive eyes were like dead wood. Do you think it's possible for you to fall in love with me? Baiyu shook her head. Your liking is already a burden to me. Got it. Gu Lingqing was driving. Along the way, he didn't speak again and sent Baiya to Lu Shuang's place. As soon as Baiya got out of the car, Gu Lingqing drove the car away before she could return the clothes to him. She looked at the back of the car and stood there in silence. She knew that she had completely lost him. That was good. He was high up and shouldn't have anything to do with a woman like her. In the future, she could just see him on TV. Baiya turned around and entered the elevator. Just when she came out of the elevator, her phone rang. She saw that it was Su Jiran calling. She felt very annoyed and didn't answer it. Instead, she muted the phone and threw it on the sofa. She went into the bathroom, took a shower, changed her clothes, took out ice from the fridge and put it on her face. Then she went to the kitchen to make dinner for Lu Shuang. Everything was calm as if nothing had happened during the day. Lu Shuang opened the door and saw the dishes on the table. It smells so good. Wash your hands and come for dinner. Baiya walked out of the kitchen with the yam ribs. Are you okay today? Lu Shuang asked worriedly. He walked towards Baiya and saw the red and swollen face. His heart skipped a beat. Who hit you? Su Jiran. Baiya smiled. It's just a flesh wound. I don't feel any pain now. Compared to the first year of my marriage, I feel much better. He's using domestic violence. Lu Shuang said angrily. I slapped his mother twice, and he slapped me once. Actually, I'm the one who earned it. Baiya comforted him with a smile. That scumbag Su Jiran actually has a mother. The more Lu Shuang thought about it, the more he felt that Baiya's life would be very hard in the future. Let's eat. When Su Jiran finds another prey, I can resume my peaceful life. Based on my understanding of him, he won't be interested in a woman for more than 3 months. Don't worry. Baiya sat down and started eating. Lu Shuang held Baiya's hand and said guiltily, Xiao Bai, I'm sorry. I've harmed you. Otherwise, you and Gu Lingqing would be together. I met Gu Lingqing's parents today. One is the high and mighty deputy commander, and the other is a strong woman. What do you think about me? Baiya asked. I think you're pretty good. Lu Shuang blurted out. That's because we're colleagues and friends. In fact, a person like Gu Lingqing will marry a woman who matches his family background. Otherwise, his future will not be smooth. Even if you hadn't done this, Gu Lingqing and I wouldn't have been able to be together. Let's just treat it as a dream. Baiya smiled. Have you really let it go? Lu Shuang's eyes turned red. I think it's a pity. Of course it's a pity. Gu Lingqing is equivalent to a few thousand tons of rice. Anyone would be envious of him. However, I can only eat 3 buckets of rice a day. It's not suitable. Baiya picked up a piece of braised pork for Lu Shuang. If you can't eat it, you can sell it. Why are you so stubborn? Lu Shuang's eyes turned even redder. Baiya held Lu Shuang's hand. To me, friends are precious. I've thought it through. Lu Shuang's phone rang. She saw it was Su Jiran and got angry. Why are you calling me? Do you want to die? Open the door. I'm outside. Su Jiran used a commanding tone and hung up the phone. Lu Shuang picked up the mop, opened the door, and hit Su Jiran without any explanation. Su Jiran grasped the mop even faster than him. Lu Shuang pulled a few times but couldn't get the mop out. He scolded. How dare you come here? Where's my nude photo? Why don't you go and die? I saw you and Xing Jinyan doing unspeakable things in the wild with my own eyes. Why are you pestering Xiao Bai? Su Jiran ignored Lu Shuang and glanced at Baiya sharply. Follow me. Baiya pursed her lips and didn't say a word. I'll only give you 1 minute. I'll wait for you downstairs, Su Jiran said and flung the mop from Lu Shuang's hand. He looked at her maliciously and turned to leave. Baiya, don't go. Let him do it. I don't care. I have a good figure. What's there to be afraid of? Lu Shuang said irrationally. Baiya stood up and told Lu Shuang, I'll deal with it myself. Stay at home and don't do anything. I'll see you at the hospital tomorrow. Don't go. Lu Shuang cried anxiously. I'll have to face it eventually. There's no way to avoid it. I'll be fine. Baiya smiled. She threw her phone into her bag and walked out of the door. The more Lu Shuang thought about it, the more dangerous Baiya felt. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.